Live. Okay, we're live.
And let me say that pleasant good evening. And the time check is exactly 5 minutes past 6 o'clock. And for matter of fact, today is the 20th day in the month of August and the 8th month in the year 2022. Someone may ask as to why is it that in fact August is in fact running with speed. Yeah, sometimes for we are working, when the month is running like this, we can be so happy, especially when you are dependent or in fact when you're waiting for something. So, and for 6 o'clock straight to 8 o'clock, it is the program, the SKTV. For the US of A, where our team is. And yes, so if you just joining this broadcast, maybe this is the first time if I'm listening to Truth FM or maybe to this program, I want to welcome you to the program, the SKTV, and comes your way every weekday from Monday from 6 to 8 and Thursday from 6 to 8 and Saturday from 6 to 8 and Sunday from 6 to 8 with your usual team headed by Sekou. So I want to say good evening to all of you there. And Segu, I don't know how your side there, but my side is clear. I don't know what you getting me.
We're getting you very, very loud and clear. If you can get us,
so
we're good to go.
All right, that's great. So let me just, or if I reduce the music a little bit. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, so folks, I want to say thank you to our brothers and sisters out there, specifically speaking of Truth FM, our colleagues, our partners. Want to say thank you to you, Mr. Johnson Mayborn Cllr, and the entire management team in Liberia there of Truth FM. Want to say thank you, a big thank you to our listener on the radio, and those who are following on Facebook from around the world. If you are in Liberia, want to say good evening, and if you are in East Coast, eastern part of Liberia, United States, want to say good afternoon. And of course, if you are in the Phoenix area, talking about Phoenix, Arizona, talking about the West, wherein we are using the Pacific time, I want to say good morning is about, let me see, the time here is about 11:07 a.m. Talking about in the morning. Can you imagine this? This world is too big. In Liberia,
Yes,
I think in Liberia, we are about 6 o'clock. Now here is 11 in the morning. But notwithstanding, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you following SKTV. Steve, good morning to you. How are you doing, sir? While we are with our guests, I want to make sure we get a word from our various panelists on here. Speaking of our colleague Johnson Mayborn Cllr and Steve Boley, they are all here and ready to jump into this very, very important conversation. Before I even go to Steve, I want to let you know that we are fortunate today to have with us Cllr Jerome Verdier. Jerome Verdier is the former chairman of the TRC, Truth and Reconciliation Commission in the Republic of Liberia. He's a known commodity. He's not a stranger. He's not somebody who is trained to Liberian politics. And he's a lawyer who practiced law in the Republic of Liberia, but currently residing in the United States of America. And also, just so you know, Cllr Verdier is also part of individuals and institutions that are making sure that corrupt officials in Liberia are sanctioned or are brought to book. I want to say thank you to all of you for following SKTV. Steve, how are you doing, sir?
Well, good morning, Mr. Conan. Good afternoon, good evening to everyone. We want to welcome our viewers and our listeners, like you said, like Melbourne has said, from all around the world, especially those of you in Liberia who say welcome. Those of you listening to us via the radio, welcome. It feels good to be back on. Our schedule is not permitting, but we're working around our schedule to ensure that we can be on, as we used to be, or even more so. I want to welcome all of you. As always, we like to reference the Liberian people as the most important people on earth. That's something you cannot argue with or you can argue about. We also want to reference the Liberian women as the most beautiful women on earth. And if you want to challenge that, I would challenge you to look at the females in your family and tell me, say, Liberian women are not beautiful. Try it and see. Melbourne, I see you smiling, my man. You want to get any situation you can handle?
I can't do that. Whenever they talk about our ladies back home, that's just the fact.
Exactly so. And this is applicable to Liberian women all around the world. Yeah, even when they're acting some kind of way, we stay there still beautiful.
You just think out of manage.
We're here today. We're here today to have a conversation with Cllr Jerome Verdier. As you all will know, he's not a stranger to the Liberian, whether that politics, law, and so forth. He's been around, and he is around. Today we are going to dive into different things, different national and international issues. Lots of questions will be asked and would need some clarity and context on some of these things and about some of the things you've heard or you are seeing, displaying. We want to talk about it, keep it in context. He's one of the persons or people well seated to provide us with our inside knowledge and understanding as to where we are today, how we got here, and where we are headed next, because we believe this is just, the kick off. But a lot of questions I expected to be asked. I'm glad to be back. I'm excited. I'm ready. And I want for us to do this. I want for us to have this conversation. Let's have it. Share the show. Invite someone. Invite your friends. Let's talk about what's going on. Let's get into what is going on. That's critically important. Thank you. And thank you, my man. So, really quick, what thing going on while we're waiting for Sekou and our guests to be here? What thing really going on in the town in terms of I see people bouncing around? I read my morning telling people for support. What thing really going on in the town? Give us, give a brief update.
Yes, and thank you, Steve. Even though I miss you a little bit, because you've been a little bit absent, but howbeit, yes, there are a lot of things. The President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manawia, climax his county tour on today in Bento. I think is the capital city for Monserrado, as we may say. So, so the President climax his county tour today in Bento, and yes, there are a lot of happening there on today. Turnout and people welcoming. He said a lot of things. Even though he was showing a lot of jobs. And other people, saying that some people get 12 years, they don't do nothing, and my says here they want to give me a hard time. So then I waste more. Yeah,
So the president was wait. My man, they working there because I got to tune into church tomorrow. The president will discuss it indeed. I got to tune into Bakugbe, or how you call the church for the club.
Yeah, exactly.
Service for the club.
Yes. So the president was saying that in fact that the people giving the chance. But apart from that, one of the news here today also in Liberia is the former or should I say the suspended Minister Honorable Nathaniel Magir. Yes, he's doing a visit today in Bon County. Actually, he went there today for funeral, and surprisingly, there was a huge turn-up, and under his sympathy with him. Yeah, so there are a lot of people that today that turn up. They went there to see him. Oh yes, we sympathy with you. There are a lot of say yeah, sorry for what happened and so on. But yeah, so far in Liberia, that's just that happening. The president claims his tour, while the suspended minister also in fact, were on his funeral business, and he was well received today by the people that in Bon County. But for me, I don't know why, because it was just so surprising to me.
Okay, well, that's good to know. But let me say this really quick here. Most of these things are staged. And it's a normal reaction from people who don't want to be responsible, who don't want to take accountability for in-law or so forth, they pull out these defiant postures that they think would help them or consolidate them. But let me be clear on something here. I think the president is trying to take a swap at former Vice President Joseph Yuma Boaka, and we got to send a message to the president. You got to behave. My Liao Papa alone. Our Papa don't do nothing to him. They leave our Papa alone. That one noise in the town. The town already knows it. So they leave our Papa alone. That one noise. Yeah. They leave our Papa alone. Joe Boy chilling. He ain't doing anything to anybody. Joseph Boaka chilling in money in business. Leave Joe Boy alone. But also on some serious note, I think the president needs to speak to these things as opposed to throwing these funny jabs. But like I said, I will be in church tomorrow. I'll be in Fogacon Church.
And sorry, and the other one is the U.S. ambassador or the ambassador visit today to the president compound this morning. We saw photos, flying around, or that in fact the U.S. ambassador pay a visit or a coffee visit this morning to the president home this morning.
Oh, so okay, so they went to him. They went to the president. So you are saying they went to the president this morning.
The U.S. ambassador, yes, the U.S. ambassador.
Okay, so this is interesting. This is interesting, but it's not uncommon as well. It is not uncommon as well. Maybe especially on the weekend, you never know. Maybe they're going to play another because we've seen they're going to play another basketball or they're arranging on a basketball, inter-team or something.
Okay.
At the park. But one thing I know for a fact, I know the American people. I know the system. I understand the system. They can walk and chew gum. They can walk with you and still hold you accountable. They can walk with you and still hold you accountable. So all that thing, it's welcoming. At least they pay the president a visit to your house. But we want to see what the president says about this. Hopefully, he does not give a sermon about it tomorrow. Neither preacher. So I'll be in between two churches tomorrow. I will be in Fogacon Church and I will be in Prince Johnson Church because I know they will throw jab and take swaps at people. So tomorrow I'm attending two services. Those of you who want to catch me to Prince Johnson Church and then catch me to Fogacon Church as well. I will be in the middle of services there. I'll just be going back and forth because there's no more traffic. There's not too many traffic. So, okay. This is the image of, I think Sekou was trying to bring that up. This is the image of Nathaniel Michael coming to Bon County. But let me say what I was saying. Hold on, let me bring this thing up. Somebody working from the back there needs to put it up now because it's interesting for them to know. Similar thing happened to Bill Twale or whatever it is. Bill Twale or whatever.
Yeah, Bill Twale.
All right. Well, these are all. Let me say this. These are all stage.
You have what it needs. So, welcome to this live video. Where you have dozens of monkeys came to sympathize with the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. And you can see all around.
So let me say this before. For those of you who just listening, this is SKTV coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. Since my colleagues were talking about this particular issue, I decided to bring you factual evidence as to what actually transpired in Bon County today. Before we came on the show, I had a conversation with one of our good friends, and this person told me, Sekou, how important is this sanction? You think it's just going to have an impact, especially on the Liberian people, especially on the common people? Are they really listening? Are they really watching? And I said, what do you mean? And this person told me, Sekou, I was watching a video today that the people that this man went to Bon County, and the people were welcoming him, saying that the American people lie on him. In fact, he told the people that American people lie on him, and the people believe it. They say, sanction or no sanction, we will support you. We are here for you. I said, well, I told the person, he said, no, don't be carried away by those things. Like Steve rightly said, these things are staged. These things are planned. They can plan it. And it is when somebody is in a desperate mood, when somebody is in a defiant mood, when somebody trying to kind of reinvent themselves, because right now, if you listen to CDCians, and I want to make a specific reference to one of the former deputy minister, Eugene Fagon. He said yesterday how McGill has been isolated, and in fact, he went on to say that even Samuel Tuwe, who was supposed to be the best friend of McGill, had not even reached out to McGill or reached to McGill's house to sympathize with him. That everybody now staying away from McGill. So what do you expect? So the balance money they still have, the money that they stole, the money that he still have in, whether in his house or in the banks in Liberia or wherever they are, he got to use some of those money to still make his case to the people. You don't expect the man to just remain in isolation, but trust me, those people that got out over there and talk and chanted, we still love you, we still support you, that's what they will do. It's all about money. And don't forget, the election of Dillon in 2020, Thomas Falaga, what? Thomas Falaga more than 100,000 votes, right? But it still got flogged. So when you have a program today going on in Monserrado, when you assemble 30,000 people, it will look like everybody from the country. Don't forget, those two, they're citizens. They can support their party. But that doesn't mean anything when real election comes. So that action in Bon County, we will play it for you to see it. And I'm glad that the guest is almost here, I believe. The guest is logging in right now. Once he is available, we'll bring him on. We want to play that video. So let's hear and see what's going on. And that will form part of our conversation. The guest is already here. So Steve, what we're going to do here, we're going to bring the guest on, and then we will all play that video, and then we will start our conversation from that point. Now the sanction is on McGill, what's in Betwawe and Serena Stephens. Now some part of Liberia, specifically in Bon County, are celebrating McGill. So what's going on? So let's play it. I'll bring the guest on. Then we'll play it. We'll all listen to it together, and then we will jump in right away into the conversation. Let's see here. Cllr Verdier, your camera is off. If you can see if I'm seeing you here. How can the camera is off? Just go ahead and touch the camera if you can, so that way we can see you here, because I'm not seeing you here. So what we'll do here, folks, we will play that particular video and see what's going on with it, and then we will begin the conversation from there.
Oh, this is the crowd. This is the crowd. They are here to sympathize with the Minister of States as he want to go in session. And at a moment from now, the Minister of States will be in the county for a visit. So they deem it necessary as a friend to him to sympathize with the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. So, whatsoever you are, just joining this broadcast, this lovely wet Saturday morning in the central region of Liberia. Welcome to Cllr TV. Please share this live video. Welcome to Cllr TV. You have the citizens of Hong County. They have gathered themselves to officially welcome the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. At a moment from now, the minister will be in the county, so the team is necessary as a friend to the minister.
So, folks, what we're going to do here, we'll fast forward, we take it forward a little bit, so that way we can get to the main part of this video. So that way you can have some understanding as to exactly, okay, what's going on here. Let's do this.
We are heading towards the Minister House, where we have the citizens trying to make their way there. We are heading towards the Minister House. We are heading towards the Minister House. It's on one Saturday morning, so the citizens are here. They are all here.
So, folks, first of all, I want to take this time to welcome Cllr Jerome Verdier on the platform. I think he's already here. Cllr Verdier, welcome to SKTV once again. We want to say thank you for responding to our call to be here once again. Can you hear me, sir? I hope his line is not freezing because he's not in Liberia. Hopefully, yeah, it seems like your line is freezing right there. I want to welcome him first. I want him to be here, and I'm also going to push this video forward so we can listen to Maggie himself, so you can have a gist as to what is really going on, because this is very important. It's very, very, very important.
Yes, this is important, and emphasis needs to be laid on this.
Yeah. So it's very important. Let's do that real quick. I think the counselor will, let me see if we can take him off so he can come back in. So that way. And just so you know, folks, we have added another, let me say this why. This is very important. We have added another account. You know, we have been having problem with our original account, wherein many people are complaining that they are not getting notifications. And we have had a lot of people added to this platform off and on. We have some unusual activities going on. So what we have done, we have created a backup account talking about SKTV, but this time it is called SKTV Live, just to give you a little difference. So we're going to pin the link on here. We're still going to be on this platform. We will transition gradually as we move everybody to SKTV Live. SKTV as is right now will continue to be used, but at the end of the day, we will eventually transition to SKTV Live, wherein you will be getting your notification on time, and we will remove a lot of our little problem that we've been encountering. And everybody that we click like or follow will automatically be notified as soon as we come on. It's not going to be today, but what we're doing right now, we are broadcasting simultaneously on SKTV and SKTV Live, and also on YouTube. We are on YouTube. And just click SKTV on YouTube, you will see it. Or you can go SKTV Live on Facebook. That's a new platform, but that one we just transitioning just for you to get used to it. So if you can get us live on here, SKTV, go to SKTV Live. That's the name. You're going to see, I put my picture on it just in case you can know that it is us. It's not any kind of fake account. It's SKTV Live. So just so you know, so when you see, oh, I'm seeing one SKTV Live here, and at the same time SKTV is on, don't get confused. We the one that doing it is a transitional posture. We're trying to make sure that we transition from the original SKTV to the other one, so that we'll be using both of the accounts simultaneously so we can get used to it. But everybody that will come on SKTV here, want to encourage you to go click, like, and follow SKTV Live. Pretty much those who are my friends on Facebook, we have sent an invite to all of you, for most of you, to like and follow. And I believe Melbourne Cllr will also be sending invite to all of you. Steve Bully will be sending invite to all of you when they are added as admin and editors on the account. So just so you know, it's a new thing, but it's important. It's important. It's the backup, and we want to make sure that everybody following SKTV get everything from SKTV. Now sometimes, but we want to make sure at least all the time. So give me a chance. Let me move this video a little bit so we can get to where Maggie is actually speaking. All right, let's get this here.
DJ,
So just joining this broadcast. Welcome to and in the central region of Liberia, where most of the kids from districts to so welcome to the movement for now. Yes, I will be talking to the people of Hong Kong, which is especially his friend decided to sympathize with
them. And before we play this video to where we want Maggie to be speaking, I just want to make a disclaimer here to let you know that this video that we are playing here is not originally recorded by SKTV. We just want to make sure that you know this. It is not originally recorded by us from our sister network, one of the network in Liberia. So this is not SKTV video, and the voice you're hearing under the video is not a reporter or a correspondent of SKTV. We just want to make sure you are in the know of that. We are just using this video for information purposes only. It's not ours, but we want to make sure that we play it so that you can hear directly from McGill and see directly what is going on in Liberia in response to the sanction. Just want to make sure we get that clear. Please continue watching.
So right now, we ask the cheerleader to come. Hello, Amanda. So you gotta listen, right? So we'll go on the cheerleader. That's about 1 minute. Then the minister will come, and then we will also appreciate the other minister for the group. The group now will start the last issue.
Steve, I know people are eager. Yeah, I know you like this song so much, and this song that people playing here, you know what this song mean, right?
Well, the song that I really am smiling.
Now feel betrayed by Joia and everybody else.
Yeah, the song is not timely. They don't.
No, the song is timely for my girl. Let me tell you something. If you listen to Eugene Fagon, right? Eugene Fagon said, everybody else have betrayed my girl. Fagon said, 1,000 of people used to come to my girl get it every morning. Now the place looks like a ghost town.
Mr. Cannon.
Yeah, even what's his name?
Senator
is even yet to reach out to McGill. So now McGill feel betrayal. That's why they purposely selected that song. Find a friend like me if you don't want betrayal.
The reason I'm saying this song is not strategic.
Okay.
Because Nathaniel McGill, for me, just looking at the video, I think it was a farewell celebration for him to put him out. And remember today, it was a farewell to put him out. The fact that they can play this music alone shows that McGill is alienated, he is isolated, he is done with. And so, in open air, they want to challenge and defy the rest of the crew and say, oh, so you're not with your man anymore, you're throwing your man under the bus. But here's the danger. Here's the part that's interesting. How will McGill react? That's what we are looking at.
And I'm going to go to that. You know, after we got into the show, actually, to let our audience know, the counselor was already here, but this internet was kind of acting up. So you're going to restart a system, and then you're going to come back on. Well, I'm going to still play the video, but I just wanted to get your attention to that part. If you are watching and listening, McGill now playing the song, find a friend like me if you don't want betrayal. However, I want you to get this straight. McGill is not finished yet, Steve. This is not a farewell. This is the beginning of a new beginning. A beginning of a new beginning. Trust me. Liberia is a different country. But what's going to happen? We're going to see a big problem, a bigger problem within the CDC arena. You're going to see it. There's a new movie that's going to be that just going to start, and it's going to be very, very interesting to watch. But let's go back. Let's go back to the song.
come on, we say, Lord, you are the woman until you marry a man. We stay here for you. The king of waiting for you. We are here for you. We are standing for you because you are a good friend to us. Our love for you, our gratitude for you, our very Lord, we in a matter for you. God is serve as a woman who will pray for you as witty and you. Because what you're doing for us in the county is save for men to do it. Save our parents born for me. I have never saw a good man like you. So we will stay in the county. We will always be there for you. We will show our love for you are supported for the children. So on the president of Liberia. So we're here for you. Thank you. Hello. As the representative of District Number 3, the floor has spoken. You see the document. So I don't go the power anymore to the general. So here we have more than 2,500 people to ready your face. It's decided to provide the weather. The next time you turn this country, more than 10,000 people will come to soul. Our we condemn corruption at the highest level, and we pray that you'll be given the opportunity to be heard. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Come on, man. Forget about the DJ, man. Let you hear the man. Oh, the band about to sing song again.
Everybody,
Thank you very much. Everyone hear me? Hello? La position is mad. Okay. To my friends and brothers of Constance Day, let me express my gratitude for the level of solidarity you have come to. I know you are not come to celebrate any act of corruption, because corruption is a matter that everyone else needs to condemn and fight. What you have shown me today is a matter of solidarity I want to appreciate. Any institution that fight corruption, that institution must be supported. But at the same time, individuals, I know even the great democracy, even the United States, the right of innocence is always the paramount issue of due process. I want to ask you to continue to be calm. as we go through this time of difficulties, some of the allegations, you've seen it, and I've officially written the president of my position regarding the allegations. And those positions will be out on Monday. So like people can hear from me for the first time. I believe
UNHCR.
Treasury Department had a good intention to identify individuals who are engaged in corruption. And we welcome that. And I believe the information that they received regarding me, those information was incorrect. And I hope, as a democracy, one of the words, most important democracy that defend human rights, was given the opportunity to be heard. Because individuals they may have spoken to, me, I misinformed them about my involvement in corruption. Some of the allegations are allegations that I'm supporting students. I'm giving thousands of dollars to private projects which is a student project. And I've always defended that. That information is correct. But I'm not taking any government money to use it for my own self. The reality is, even the student money, I don't control it. The records are there. It's the county based on the selection of individuals from your country that control those money. I don't see the money, I don't touch it, I don't distribute it. That has been a tradition of our country to help poor people. If this is what I have done wrong, and I'm confronted with that, I will admit. But I've done nothing wrong, and people have used my name. The reality is of open fact that people are using my name. Police records show people have been arrested using my name to take money for people. I reported it to the police. Being a newspaper, everybody knows that. That's one of my allegations. I'm using my name to get money from people. But people know the truth. I'm not engaging in this thing. There are other allegations I speak to you about. I want you to be assured that as your friend, brother, son, and father, I'm not engaging in corruption. I'm not engaging in corruption.
Thank you.
I will continue to be a champion of corruption. I came here. Sometimes when you speak and you raise people, or you don't clearly interpret some of your comments, those comments are misinterpreted. So I know journalists are here because in my life, I want my words to be clearly mentioned. I do not support corruption. I'm never engaged in corruption. So I want to thank you. I want to thank every one of you for coming. I want you to be assured that we are here for Monday is our home. I'm here to rest. I'm not here to celebrate. But as my brothers and sisters, I will always be with you. Came today to attend the funeral of a very important citizen of long-time advice. I want to pay respect to all. But it'll be unfair to me when you come to say hello and attend our funeral in a few moments. We will continue. I want to thank the president for taking decisive action. The president is a president who has vowed that he will fight corruption. And one of the evidence I presented, the president would not hesitate to do it. A lot of people took the president when I was suspend him. Those are grave allegations. Those allegations are crimes under the laws of Liberia. And there are penalties. So, as a friend and brother of one country, I am not above the law. Let me assure everyone that we continue to be a champion of fighting corruption at every level. This issue has taught me a great lesson. And I believe all about will prevail through the show. And I'm quite sure our friends, especially our traditional partners, I believe they are fair. I'm quite sure when they see the truth, our ears not ready. The people providing information. And Liberia is a society of deception. It's a society of gossip. It's a society of rumor. Somebody said a few days I have $4 million in the bank account. And I said to them, don't ask questions, go to me and take the money. If you believe the money for me, don't even get my permission. Wherever that money is, if you find it, it's saying my name, my name, my girl. Take it and give it to the government and prosecute me for it. And prosecute me for it. Because I do not have any bank account outside of Liberia. All my bank accounts are inside Liberia. I do not own a property outside Liberia. Suppose I get property outside Liberia. If you find the property, take the property and sell it and give the money to the people of Liberia. And I'm very open to provide any information whatsoever that people want to ask me concerning my dealings. Things that you see around here, there are records on how I got them or how I get them. Any questions that may arise by the appropriate legal authority. Let me say thank you and let me get ready. I hope most of you will join us at the funeral services. After that, we'll be here. And you are both welcome anytime to come to this residence. This residence is your residence. There's no barrier here. There's no barrier. You come here, you'll be recognized, you'll be accepted, you'll come in. Even though you're in the fence or you enter the fence, you enjoy yourself. All you have to do is all to be in and do the right thing. And I ask you all who are here today to go out and be a champion of fighting corruption. Anywhere corruption is happening, let it out. And who anyone who is engaged in corruption, including myself, if anyone who are engaged in it, and I am able to people. Thank you and God bless you.
So, folks, that was the sanctioned designated Minister of State for Presidential Affairs of the Republic of Liberia, Nathaniel McGill. I want to say thank you to all of you for patiently following SKTV. And those of you listening to us on the radio, Truth FM 96.1, I want to say thank you to all of you. And I want to take this time to welcome Cllr Jerome Verdier as our guest of today. Cllr, once again, I want to welcome you to SKTV. I think you are muted. Just go ahead and click the unmute button so you can have a word to say to our people. Welcome again to SKTV.
Thank you, my brother. And I'm very happy to be able to sit on the popular platform and to exchange ideas with you all in the studio. We thank God for another day. From where I am, it is sunny and very beautiful. And I'm sure your end is also. So we thank God not only for the day, but for Liberia, for what's happening in Liberia. I think God has been good to Liberia. And it is time we Liberians try and be a little good to our country. I told somebody that the Americans behave as if they love Liberia more than the way our government loves the country. Government in, government out, the country is still what it is. We have to find a way to change things around. And I believe leadership, even from the TRC, we realize that leadership is a major problem. Our leaders have not been in the interest of the people. Our leaders have not had any development plan for the country. Our leaders are not compassionate enough. They don't love the people. And above all, our leaders don't fear God. The last president, the last national development plan I saw was the one drafted by President Tolbert. Since Tolbert, you won't see anything. Ellie made it worse. We have Ministry of Planning. She decided to dissolve Ministry of Planning and put it into a Ministry of Finance. So we do not have a ministry that does planning. And the current administration, you know, they have the what? Propo agenda plan. You don't even see them referring to it. It was developed by somebody outside of government, somebody outside the party. It was developed by experts, so they themselves don't even understand what the Propo plan is, and they don't even refer to it. You know, so unfortunately, we need good leaders in Liberia. Thank you, my brother, for your initiatives. Our people need information so that they can make good decisions. And I'm honored to be on the program once more. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Councillor Verdier. I want to start off by asking you. I'm pretty sure you watched the video or you listened to Nathaniel McGill speaking. Overall, what do you make of this video? The reception, the body language, the music, everything that we just watch and we just listen to. What do you make of this video?
Well, I didn't hear the full thing. Yes, I understand just briefly. But one thing I don't like to do is to dignify these people. When you discuss them, you make them to feel important. Normally, as you will notice, I just ignore them and things pass by. The thief, the rogue, will never say, yes, I have stolen, until you take him to court and you bring him down to justice. Okay, and that's what I see. I mean, out of shame, these people have to come out and make bluff and pretend as if they are not ashamed or they are not afraid. But I know it is heating up. To be sanctioned by America as a world-class criminal, corruption is a crime, and all the crimes accused of are criminal in nature. So to be sanctioned as a criminal, the following day that sanction was announced, that somebody who called me from China and said it's in the China major newspapers. The world knows, and he has gone all around America for you guys in the media who are double checking. You know, so they have to put up brave face. They don't want to go and sit in a corner and fold their hands and all of that. At some point, they say, I don't have money there, like Prince Johnson and others. I don't do anything with America. That's lie. America is the biggest nation here on earth. They have intelligence. You say you don't have any interest in America? You don't have children, you don't have friends there, you don't have property there? We will see. Okay, and somebody was on radio and said it was the worst thing that has ever happened to the Taylor government when they were sanctioned. Even though the two situations are a little different, but if you are sanctioned by the world greatest democracy for criminal activities, for corruption, and you say it means nothing, it's true it means nothing to you because you have no conscience. You have no soul. You steal from dying poor people, and it means nothing to you. That's not your own money. Before you came to government, what kind of life you lived? And the government is paying you $1 million a year, and now we can see the difference. So they don't care. As I said, they're not compassionate. They don't care about our people. It's very, very sad. So we have to be very careful how we choose our leaders. And the opportunity is coming in 2023. The message I've been giving the Liberian people, it is clear. The sanctions are not against the people of Liberia, it's against corrupt individuals. And 2, do not vote for George Weah. And all his team Weah, don't vote for them. You have seen their performance for 5-6 years. We have sufficiently qualified people in the opposition. Choose any one of them and vote for them. They will be better than we are, 10 times better. Anybody in the opposition will be 10 times better than we are. And fortunately, they are all professionals, distinguished in their respective professions. We can't have anything better than that in Liberia.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jerome Verdier. First, if you just joining us, this is SKTV coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona, also live on Truth FM 96.1 in the Republic of Liberia. As we always hear, Truth FM is the heart and soul of Liberia. As a matter of fact, is the biggest radio station in the Republic currently as we speak. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you and to the team and membership of Truth FM. Everybody on there, specifically Johnson Mayborn Kula, who is making it possible right now as we speak. So, Councillor Jerome Verdier, right now we have the nation watching and listening to you. Some people are trying to downplay this sanction. I know people who are in the circle of those guys who were sanctioned. They will downplay it. But deep down, they know exactly what's going on. Now, you said that America will always show or act like they care about Liberian people more than the government officials themselves. We heard that the president had a conversation or meeting with the ambassador. McGill just said that he has written the president his position with regards to this sanction. Can you speak to that? What's going on here? Are we going to see McGill maybe formally resigning or being fired? Or maybe the president met with the ambassador, they're trying to water down everything and maybe McGill going to be reinstated. What's going on? What can you say about the scenario being playing out here?
My brother, the so-called suspension has not even taken effect yet. When it has taken effect, then we will say he was formal and all of that. And as I just said, what these people think, what they feel, doesn't matter to us and the Liberian people. They are just very bad elements. They do not set good examples of public service. That is why you see good people shun away from public service. In America here alone, we have Liberians in every sphere of professionalism. People who have taken years and prepared themselves, just like the way you see communists are going home. A lot of other Liberians are there. In public administration, in business administration, in law, in aviation, in medical, even the medical field, Liberians are qualified and here and are willing to go home. But until we get the conditions right, you and I know that President Weah is a dull person. He went to the ambassador to say, "Come and teach me this thing you're taught, the thing you read on radio."
Just a clarification, you mean D-U-L-L, correct? Not D-O-G, because I want people to get an understanding. Because when you say dog, the pronunciation, the phonetic aspect of it, not everybody pay attention to that. So you mean D-U-L-L.
D-U-L-L. He had his comprehension is hard.
Okay.
So he went to the ambassador to say, that statement you read, I didn't understand you good, so I came for you to please explain it to me. Other people in his cabinet, his inner circle, they've been telling him all kinds of things. So he wanted to get it very clear from the ambassador himself. He said, "Please explain to me what you meant, what you told the Liberian people. And this sanction, what does it mean?" The ambassador said, "Okay, I don't mind. I will explain it to you." And one thing I'd like us to know, the ambassador is like what? A deliverer of message. If somebody comes, you can receive the message, but you don't have to do what the message says. That's the difference, And Weah wants to know, he wants to understand, so he asked the ambassador to take up his time. The ambassador, of course. And the sanction regime, it didn't even start with the ambassador. The ambassador has nothing to do with it. The ambassador is with State Department. His bosses are State Department. So it is State Department, the mansion, Congress lower house, Congress upper house, who took those decisions. And the last time I was in discussion on this, I said Treasury is the last body that approves onto the sanctions. Once Treasury has approved it, it is done. The ambassador has nothing to do. He cannot turn it around. He can explain himself. He can explain the situation and all of that. And these people have been investigating, documenting for the last 2.5 years on this action. And it's not just me, other Liberians in the country, Liberians out of the country who have been sending information and pleading with the US government that these people want to destroy the country. If nothing is done, they will take us back to conflict and probably war. You have to do something.
Thank you very much, Councillor Verdier. Before I go, this is going to be my last question on this segment before I go to my colleagues here. I listened to you on the Spoon Talk when you said your organization is or was also part of the process to put sanction on these supposedly corrupt officials of the government in Liberia. Can you speak to that, the role you play, your organization play in making sure that the corrupt officials of Liberian government are sanctioned? Can you speak to that?
A very major role. We were the leading organization, and we mobilized other people to support it by sending in their information. We play a very leading role. We are based in Washington. We interact with members of the US government. And we even drew up lists. Like I say, it's been 2 years running. 2 years before. We identified the corrupt elements in the government and those who are violating human rights. Yes, and we urged the US government to do something. You know, and yes, our situation is very, very bad. The country is declining. Something has to be done. We have to stop these people. And here's one aspect of the sanctions that we shouldn't overlook. If our government was a credible government, we will have these people in court. The sanction is preserving documentation that can serve as the basis for criminal indictment of everybody who will be named as on the sanction list. The Americans have done their investigation. They have compiled the evidence. The sanctions committee just left from Liberia recently, you know, to verify other things that they weren't satisfied with. And so they went there, they did their verification, and they left. Every document issued on them is a basis for indictment, criminal indictment. And those prosecution will be done in the future. All of them. Let Maggie say the nonsense he wants to say. Let all of them do what they want to do. If President Weah is serious to distance himself from them, it means that he doesn't support their conduct. If he wants to keep them very close and aligned to them, it means that he is tied in with them. And that interpretation of his conduct is very, very important. And we all are watching.
All right. Thank you very much, folks. You just heard from the Cllr Jerome Verdier. If you don't know him, he is the former chairman of the TRC, Truth and Reconciliation Commission in the Republic of Liberia. He's also a sitting lawyer who have practiced law. According to him, even as of to now, some of his clients are calling him, "We miss you. We really, really need some good lawyers in Liberia." But unfortunately, he has to live in the exile because of political reason. He cannot live peacefully under the current leadership. So he is here in America. Yeah, so let's go to Steve Bole, and then we'll go to Johnson Mabon Kula to ask a few questions. Then we will come back to me, because I have a lot of questions, but I cannot do it by myself. Steve.
I'm here. I need to that smile on your face, but Steve is so serious. I don't know what's his problem.
No. Steve is a research guy. This guy here, he does a lot of research, and the question, you got to be ready for his question.
Okay.
So welcome, Mr. Verdier, to Cllr Verdier to the show again. It's good seeing you. I like the posture, the demeanor. You're very calm, cool, collective. And in America, we say you chill. Yeah, but I was saying you chill or you lay back. Well,
Yeah.
let me give credit to Jay Randy and other people we have been following the story from SKTV, doing all of the research and so forth. Concerning this case, the Office of Foreign Asset Control. When you have the time, to our viewers and our listeners, look it up. The Office of Foreign Assets Control. Just to corroborate what Councillor Verdier has said, that this is serious. This is not a joking matter. It's not a Liberia talking point. It's not about getting few people to come and cheer you up and you play music and you dance, you go, you eat, you go, you sit down. That's your problem. So let me give this up. So we researched Nathaniel McGill because most of the times when your names are mentioned under this act or publicly, globally, what happens is they got to put you in that database. So Nathaniel McGill, I didn't know his birthday. I got to know his birthday anyways. Nathaniel F. McGill, he was born January 1st, 1971 in Belek. Is that Belek Yala, Liberia? So all of the records are here. His passport number and everything is here. So this is not a joking matter. So in other words, we say in America, Nathaniel McGill is screwed, if you think this is a joke. But let's get to the question. I wanted to ask you a question because I've listened to a couple of people. Nathaniel McGill made assertion of that. My first question would be, is this Magnitsky Act sanction appealable? Can he appeal? Can he, quote unquote, go and make my case, or I get a case to make that we hear them talking and I all lie and people sending report? What do you say?
Well, it's not in the context of appeal. What you can do is to challenge.
Okay, good.
Yes, and they give you an opportunity. They even share the link and tell you, challenge what we are saying anytime, so that you can be delisted, meaning your name is on the sanction list. If you don't want your name there, come to us and give us reasons why your name should be taken off the sanctions list. So you can challenge it. You can go to the Americans and they are willing to sit with you. They will provide the evidence that they have before you and hear what you have to say. As you can see, the allegations are very extensive,
right,
in terms of what they have done. And the public, if the public understands, they know. As soon as you read it, you see Magui's profile, what he's been doing, what he's doing. Magui is the de facto president of Liberia. By default of Mr. Weah, he has dedicated his functions to Magui. What Magui says happens, what happens. He, along with the finance minister, control everything. The president just wants to ball. He wants to eat. He wants to booze. He wants to play around. Okay? And that's all. From my information, he once told them that he's already a celebrity. His name is in the history books, that he was the president of Liberia. He has achieved everything he ever dreamed of achieving. So here is a man, his greatest goal after he decided to go into politics was to be president of Liberia. No plan to do anything beyond that. But you know, our people, they say if you sucker, the other people will use you. So that's why he stayed there. Other people are using him for their own personal benefits. He doesn't want to be there, but what he doesn't know is that he is responsible as the chief executive. He is responsible for what everybody does under him. Yeah, he takes the responsibility.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. I like the word you use, challenge. You can challenge it as opposed to appeal. So whatever he does going forward to vindicate himself would be a challenge to the evidences that were already built against him, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's it.
Wonderful. Let's move fast forward. I've also heard, and I will call names here because it's public knowledge. I've also heard Senator Edwin Snow make mention of the UN sanction as opposed to the Magnitsky Act, which he was on the UN sanction. Now, would you please clarify to my Omane all the way in Bonkante, in Lofa, in Grenjide, would you clarify to them what is the difference between that UN sanction and this current sanction? Because to keep in context, we first heard about a UN sanction coming up in 1966 actually they sanctioned a couple of countries. From there, they started going forward. And then now, this Magnitsky Act actually came about. It was actually launched here in 2012 of June. So what is the difference between both of them?
I hope it's not, the internet is not acting up again.
Yeah, they one needs to be clarified. You know? Yeah. I think the internet is acting up.
Yeah, so folks, we want to welcome all of you. If you haven't shared the show, please go ahead and do so. We have with us today Cllr Jerome Verdier. He's now a stranger to Liberian politics. He's a lawyer, and the fact that he led the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, that made him very, very popular in the Liberian contest. But I want to say thank you to all of you for watching and sharing. And those of you listening on the radio, I want to say thank you very, very much. Get ready. And after a few more questions, we'll open the line in Liberia. For those of you with limited understanding of what this sanction means and what the repercussions are, you will got to know. Because you know what? If you have any question, we have somebody here who is who have the requisite knowledge of what is going on. That person can help all of us to understand area that we don't understand. And some of the questions we ask, it's not just for us, for you, for everybody listening, because you may not have the opportunity to ask the question that we are asking. So when we speak, we're not speaking just for ourselves, but for you as well. So Steve, based on what we have heard so far, in as much as we are waiting to get more clarity and context into these things, I mean, this is bigger and deeper than we know.
Yes, it is bigger and deeper. And the reason it is bigger and deeper, it has to be worrisome and troubling, even for the president. Not only that, because first of all, McGill is not just anybody to the president. He's not a low-level government official. He's a senior government official. He has been doing, according to the reports, he has been doing government businesses officially on behalf of the government. You'll recall that all of the time, most of the times when it came to the United States to negotiate on behalf of the government, it was Samuel Tuer, McGill, and Jefferson Koji that would lead a crew, as even opposed to the foreign minister who should be doing that. Now, so he's kept himself on record. Yeah.
So it looks like the counselor is back. Hopefully the internet will stop misbehaving.
Yeah, I rebuke the internet for misbehaving.
I know. So yes, Counselor, I don't know whether you heard the question from Steve. If not, you can repeat the question so you can answer.
No, I didn't hear his second question. Was on Edwin Snow and UN sanctions.
Yes. So to paraphrase it really quick here, my question is in light of, I heard Edwin Snow speak about the UN sanction. So now my question is, what is the difference between both? Because Edwin Snow claims he was, yes, it's on record that he was able to get delisted from the United States, from the UN Council, whatever it is, sanction list.
Yeah, okay.
So what we have today, what is the difference?
One, the situation of Liberia under Charles Taylor was on security.
Right.
Charles Taylor was a threat to his neighbors, and he was a threat to the international system. His threat posed a major security to the stability of the world. And so because of that, he had to be cut off. And Charles Taylor had linkages. When the sanctions were first imposed on Charles Taylor, they realized that he was using intermediaries, getting people, if he wants to talk to the main Burkina Faso, he calls Edwin Snow and says, "No, I want you to go to the Burkina Faso president and tell him my account that I have there, I've authorized you to sign into it and take $1 billion from there and come back to Liberia." Edwin Snow will go. If he wants to send somebody to Libya, he will get one ambassador and say, "Look, I cannot talk to, this sanction is on me, so I cannot talk to the Libyan president. So I'm sending you as a special envoy. I've signed this. I'm authorizing you to go to the Libyan president and do this." So when the UN realized that, his major inner cycle, his colleagues, his friends, his relatives, and family members were sanctioned so that they too cannot travel and they cannot carry on international transactions on his behalf. So that's why they extended the net. Charles Taylor said he didn't have any money anywhere. The UN broke that network of where he had all his wealth, who all name he had his store in, and all of that. Many people don't know this. I worked as a lawyer for the special court, so I had access to that information. The whole Chancellor was a very complex man.
That's a breaking news, though. That's a breaking news, and we'll dig deeper on that.
Chancellor was a very complex man. He had linkages upon linkages. Conning on conning, all of that kind of in the Liberian term. If he puts you on his case to handle his affairs, he put another person on that same case, but in different ways. So he had his money stored all around different places under different names. Unfortunately, he's in jail now, and those people could be benefiting for those assets that were now frozen. But the UN got all of that. And the government is trying to spin it that the sanction is on Liberia. I just want to say to Liberian people, the international community has compassionate people. If they were sanctioning Liberia, no Pusawa will come to Liberia.
Right.
No petroleum will come to Liberia. Liberia has one of the smallest economies in the world. And we are not very adaptable. It's easy to squeeze things on Liberia. Yes, sir.
Councilor Verdier, I hate to interrupt, but I want to tie this in really quick because of time, I need to put in some of these questions quick for our viewers and listeners. So essentially, we see Edwin Snow. I want to pivot a little bit. Graduate from the Chancellor time, but we see Edwin Snow doing similar thing with President George Weah, such as what are they hanging around, the mingling, the in public. Oh, that's my friend. We've been friends this time, that time. Let me rephrase this question the other way. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but let me rephrase this question the other way. Based on what you just said,
I can understand. You catch me answering your question, asking your question.
Exactly.
Based on what you just said. Nathaniel McGill being close to President George Weah is the final target President George Weah. Let's get to the chase here. Let's come to the chase. Is the final target President George Weah, the role we are on?
Well, the Americans are intelligent and skillful people. They are trying not to interfere with the electoral process in Liberia. But sanctions are necessary. I wouldn't say they are targeting George Weah. If they want him, they will get him. In fact, George Weah was at one point in time an American citizen. That gives them even more leeway into him. And if they want to get him, they will get him. But this is not a security situation where he's a security threat to the world.
Right.
But he is a peace and human rights threat to the Liberian people. So it's about the Liberian people. So from what I understand, they intend to do is to put up the sanction list in batches, in trenches, small.
Right.
And he has been invited to Washington to sit down with other African leaders. Okay, and there will be a meeting where African leaders will talk to him and tell him how they are succeeding in running their countries. So it's a coaching forum for those who in Africa and are not doing well. So the Americans want him to come and have the opportunity. And it was possible before, and when he came back, when he went the first time, it was on how do we control corruption, how do we stop corruption? And it had to do with giving prosecution powers to the LACC. And now they came to do it. They didn't just stop there. They decided to remove the people who are there and remove them illegally. You're doing one legal thing, but using the law to achieve or accomplish an illegal end. It created several problems, further problems. And the next thing, they are not saying anything about the corruption code. We will be moving forward with that one because you cannot give the people power to prosecute and you don't give them the authority to move forward. Yes, sir.
Let me squeeze in this again. I hate to interrupt, but let me squeeze in this last part of the question, and then I'll go back to Siku and Johnson and take over. But then we'll come back for another round here. But let me squeeze in this question. We're looking at the executive branch of government as we speak in terms of whether it's corruption or imposing sanctions or so forth. Do we see going forward? Can we look forward to members of whether the judiciary or the other branches of government? If the legislature, but if that is so, let's focus on the legislature a little bit. If that is so, if sanctions are going to be imposed on them, would they target people that are closer to the president, like they did with Nathaniel Magio, such as Edwin Snow and other people? Can you speak to that context, please?
Yes, there should be existing ministers and all that were forwarded for sanctions. In the judiciary, the current Chief Justice is about to retire, so I don't know what they will do about it. But if assistant ministers are sanctioned, you know that almost anybody in government is. And just look around. You can consider that everyone who you know is involved in corruption and human rights violations are targeted. Whether you're in executive branch, legislative branch, judiciary, or outside of government, you are targeted for sanctions once you are cooperating with the corrupt individuals. Because there are some people who collude with them to hide their assets, to hide the financial movement. For example, there's a whole institution of government that is used to launder money. The National Security Agency. Yes, that National Security Agency we have is an institution for money laundering. From early time they've been doing, and it's still going on now. You know, so everybody who is suspect will be sanctioned or is likely to be sanctioned. But the American government has this way of taking its own decision on when to implement it. I don't go that far, but I say yes, we believe sanction is a peaceful way of bringing about. The American ambassador said a change in attitude. They are not going to punish them now because the government itself is not in good standing as far as the rule of law is concerned. So for now, it's an opportunity to influence a change in attitude of our public servants, how they see themselves. If you see yourself in government and you think you are Lord and God over the people, that the money that comes to government is your personal money, that is wrong. You are a servant. You're supposed to see yourself as being employed by the Liberian people. So your responsibility is to serve, and to serve. But our people don't serve.
Wow.
They get big chested, they get big muff, and they feel that they are God lords, they are chiefs, they are kings and queens over the Liberian people, which is wrong.
Thank you.
And that's what the sanction is meant for, to change their attitudes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Councillor Jerome Verdier. First, listening to us on the radio, I want to say thank you. Stick to your radio, and we're going to be opening the line in Liberia shortly. But I want to go to Mr. Johnson Mabon Cllr to ask a question, maybe to Councillor Jerome Verdier. After that, we will try to get. I got a few more questions before we go to the line, but
I know.
Mr. Cllr,
I want to ask neighbor a question. What's the meaning of his middle name? It's a strange and.
It means that he was born in May. In the month of May.
Oh, that's what it means?
Yeah, that's what it means. He didn't ask me, he didn't tell me, but I know. I know that was.
Okay. Maybe people are very blessed, you know.
Exactly. And Councillor, let me say good evening to you, because here in Liberia it's 7:29. It's a honor actually Yeah, it's an honor for me to be or on the platform with you. You know, I started following you since 2006 during the TRC up to that. But this latest news before I ask my question to you from the U.S. Embassy that this morning they just posted on their website saying that this morning Ambassador McCarthy and President we are had a productive meeting about our extensive U.S.-Liberian bilateral relationship, the upcoming U.S.-African Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C., and how Liberia can chart a course for combating corruption. So this morning, yes, the U.S. ambassador were at the home of the president of the Republic of Liberia. So they just posted that. But let me go straight to my question. Yes, Councillor, this issue about Liberia corruption, people going with impunity is one thing that is like old age problem. You know, and there have been this call about economic or war crime and economic code being established here in Liberia to be able to eradicate or maybe to get rid of all these things. And this call have been over and over. There have been so many Liberians going to the legislature, you know, with their call, and up to now, these things have not been adhered to. So my question is, because this is the government, do you think what is the way forward for this thing to come to an end with the issue of impunity?
Well, we have to be serious about it, and we have to prioritize it as a major national issue. That is why the War and Economic Crimes Code was established. The people in government are not interested because they know they have a heart and an intention to steal. And so they don't want to establish a code that will trap themselves. The best way forward is to change the government. And luckily, it's just 1 year away. Change the government, change all of them that we know have not been performing well, all of them that we know are corrupt, all of them that we know are not in the interest of the government, of the people of Liberia. Change them. If we put another government there, that government behaves the same way and is not in our interest, we change them. Look at the American people. They gave Jimmy Carter only 1 term. Why? Because he was now strong on dealing with the Iranians. They took him off. Look at Mr. Trump. With all the big Bob Trump came with, he got in power and he tried to show that he was a different person, but not a person respecting American law and order, American truth, American democracy. They didn't give him any second chance. They took him from there. That's what Liberians should do. And that's why we want the presidential term to be shortened. President Weah tried to say he was doing it, but there was so much trick in it, so we oppose it. The term should be shortened to 4 years. So in 4 years' time, when we realize you are not doing good, we kick you out. People in the legislature the same way. 2 years and 4 years instead of 6 years and 9 years. You know, one of the major principles of democracy is what? Frequent elections. So people can get used to changing people, knowing that they have the power to change them. Then they will not go in the bush to take up arms, because they know 4 years is not long. They know 2 years is not long. Well, you give the man 6 years. It's a long time to wait for somebody who is corrupt, somebody who is killing people, somebody who doesn't care about the country. Is a very long time to wait for it to get him out. So that is it. To answer your question, let's change the government. And if the next government comes is not doing well, we change them. Maybe in the next government, we will amend the constitution to reduce the tenure. Or we have a way where the people can recall the legislators after 2 years. If you don't perform well, we can come together and move you from there without waiting for your term to be over. Those kind of mechanisms are things that we're changing about. And the new Liberia should embrace all of that. Election is coming, and my message to the people of Liberia, don't vote for WIA. Look in the opposition. Or unfortunately for Liberia, everybody in the opposition is outstanding and seems to be well-meaning and have good intention. So look in the opposition, take one person and vote for them. If all the people vote against the president, we are a majority of them, that means in the second round will be two members of the opposition who will be going second round. Mr. Weah is not as popular as people say he is. And people forget that Ellen Johnson said he manipulated elections to get him there. So his strategy to stay there is to steal the elections, is to rig the elections. But we have a surprise for him. 2 years ago, we submitted to the legislature a petition to reform the Elections Commission. But they haven't done it, they haven't even looked at it, they haven't spoken about it. So now that we've waited 2 years and nothing has happened, we are going to present that petition to the international community that, look, if the Liberian people make up their mind and they say they want John Brown, we want the Liberian people to honor it, but let the process be free, fair, and credible, so that all of us can respect the results of the elections. But if anybody attempt to cheat in these elections, what will happen to Liberia is as good as what you think, or as what I and you think.
Yeah, Sekou, I think you are muted. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so first I want to say thank you to all of you for following and listening to SKTV. Whether you are on Facebook or you are listening to us on the radio, I want to say thank you very, very much to sticking to your radio and your smartphones and your internet. If you're on YouTube, you can watch SKTV as well as like you're watching CNN. You just go to YouTube TV, YouTube, and then you will find us live. Councillor Verdier, I want to go back to the sanction. In responding in responding to some of Steve's questions, you made mention of the sanction. You talk about a list, and then you talk about how the sanction going to be issued in piecemeal, if you will, like little by little. We just saw 3 names. How many names could we expect holistically in the whole sanction, or how many names could we expect next, and when? Do you have an idea?
Well, that's a question for the Americans. I don't know. I have no idea. And all I will say, everybody who is corrupt or being involved in human rights violations are targeted for sanctions.
Okay, so I'm talking about you now, you and your institution, and those who have tried to make sure that these people are brought to book. Listed names. Do we have an idea as to the list of how many people could potentially be sanctioned?
I cannot comment on that.
You say 10, 20?
I can't be specific. At least they have started with 3. We got 3. And I know there are more corrupt people in government. Mr. Weah himself is very, very corrupt. And there are other people, you see what is going on. Even an institution like the fisheries is also corrupt.
Okay. Say you don't want to answer that directly, that's fine. Okay. Should we expect people outside of the executive, let's say somebody within the legislature, Senate, or House of Representatives, should we also expect some from the judiciary? So should we expect people from all the 3 organs of government, both executive, the executive, legislature, and judiciary? Should we expect sanctions to slap across the board?
Across the board, that sounds reasonable, because people who are corrupt are across the board, and people who are involved in human rights violations, they are agents of the perpetrators who are in government. So across the board, we can reasonably expect that, but I wouldn't say with certainty, because I'm not drawing up the final list. I'm not part of the decision-making process of the U.S. government. I'm only an advocate an activist, and I can see this what happening in my country. Please pay attention. Please do something. And if you want to know why I know, here's the list of people that I know. But 2 years later, I think we need to update the list, because people come in and people go. Others who were not corrupt before have turned to being corrupt now. So we may do some updating of that list before December.
Okay, another question. Based on your knowledge, the president's response to the first batch of sanctioned officials, the president's response is action. Will that change the scenario? Possibly like, okay, since the president or those who are sanctioned responded this way or that way, could somehow help some people to be delisted, or maybe help the United States government to hold on to some names. Since they have changed the first batch or the first batch, the president is changing or taking some punitive actions. And so because of that, we will hold on to other names, or those names that are being listed will definitely be released regardless of what will be the responses of both the president and those who are being designated.
Sekou, the president hasn't done anything.
Should he do something?
President?
Should the president do something?
Sekou, if I have information that a friend, a colleague, or a subordinate is a criminal, I'm managing the affairs of the Liberian people. I'm controlling their money. And there's the man who is stealing the money from the cookie jar. And I've been put on alert and brought to attention. You think I will want to continue to affiliate with that person, or to keep them within my confidence, or as a trusted colleague or subordinate or workmate? No, I wouldn't do it. The president, in Liberia, they say things can just last for 1 week. And so he thinks it's a Liberian affair. So he comes to and says they are suspended and issue one statement and say they will be investigated. Investigated by who? Or who are you investigating? The U.S. government or your sanctioned officials? Who is going to do this investigation? Since it's 10 years, we've heard a lot of other investigation. Up to today's date, Sudan Miller, you remember the journalist who was killed by President Weah's security forces. They beat him and he died subsequently. He announced an investigation. Up to now, nothing. The Cllr girl who was killed, his so-called pathologist came up and said she died from TB. And everybody object to it. He told the family, okay, you're organized. If you're willing, we will pay. Government will sponsor another pathologist to do a second result. When the family got ready, what happened? Nothing from the president is credible, is tangible, or reliable. That's how shameful governance is in Liberia. So he hasn't done anything. He hasn't said anything. When he's serious and ready to do his investigation, we will know. Firstly, you want to know who are on the investigation. You want to know what's the term of reference of the investigation. You want to know what will happen at the end of the investigation, whether they agree with the sanctioneers, or they agree with the sanctionees, or they think otherwise. We want to know. But there's no committee set up. There's no term of reference. They are suspended. Are they suspended with pay and benefits? Who knows? Somebody called me and said, oh, he says they will take their cars from them. You know how many cars those people have? That when you take government cars from them, it will cripple them. We're not concerned about you crippling them. We're concerned about good governance in Liberia and the rights of the people. So if you call yourself president and you want to do something, do the right thing and do it the right way.
Thank you.
Don't play. with the Liberian people.
Verdier, thank you very, very much. I will go to Steve to ask maybe 1 or 2 questions, just 1 or 2. Then we'll go to Liberia, because what happened is that once the radio, we get off the radio, we will continue at least for another 20 or 30 minutes on the radio with Cllr Verdier. But I want to make sure Liberian people listening on the radio get, real gist of what we discussing here. So, Steve, go ahead and ask your 2 questions, Cllr Verdier and Steve. Let's just make it as soon as possible, so that way we can go to the radio. Then after that, we can come back and ask more questions, and then we'll open the line to in the diaspora. But we want to open the line in Liberia after Steve. Steve, go ahead.
So, Cllr Verdier, really quick, does this mean that a quest for what an economic crime code has been abandoned?
No, it hasn't been abandoned, but when there's a new government, the current government will not do it. They are all thieves. They are all rogues, petty criminals. So they will not recognize the court. So we're just waiting. There will be another government. Whenever that government comes, that's it. The recommendations of the TRC are meant for the people of Liberia. So if one government doesn't implement it, that's fine. Progress and development will come to Liberia later on. They have been going.
Is there a time frame that it runs out?
No, there's no time frame.
Okay.
There's no time frame. And you know what they're doing? They go into the recommendations, they pick what they can pick from there, and they do it halfway.
Right.
President Sirleaf did it. She took about 4 or 5 recommendations. She tried to implement it in a haphazard way without referencing the TRC. This other man who is in power today, he went in the recommendation in dual citizenship. It's a prominent recommendation of the TRC. They ran a rush into it, and they issued a dual citizenship law that doesn't have, they did it halfway. Not even the way the TRC recommendations recommended it. But it's okay. We'll make progress.
I want to quickly throw this question in as the last question here. Bill 12 has been also sanctioned, yet there is a plan for him to run in a senatorial election comes 2023. What would be your recommendation? Is there a defiance to the United States government? What's going on? Because some have also said Prince Johnson there, so why did Megan go there?
Exactly. I think, and I've said it before, the Elections Commission should have a standard consistent with the rule of law, consistent with the Constitution, and consistent with the public interest in certifying people to run for office. Unfortunately, the Elections Commission doesn't exercise that. They just allow anybody to run.
Should Serena Seaforth be disbarred? Just before we go to the lines, should Serena Seaforth be disbarred?
Well, that's a process for the Supreme Court and for the Bar Association.
Okay.
I'm sure when the bar meets and put together the evidence they have, they will know that he hasn't been behaving as a credible lawyer. And most lawyers have not been doing that. That's why part of our recommendations to the Bar Association and Supreme Court is to open up the complaint mechanism to the public, so the public can know that every lawyer is under scrutiny. You can complain against them anytime. But impunity is the order of the day in Liberia, so I doubt whatever will happen. If I was there with the bar, of course that man should be scraped. But he has done a lot of other things. Look at the Cummings trial and how he managed it. You haven't even received evidence, and then you pass judgment on the defendant. You say he will have several years, and then you will have to decide the punishment for him. He will be a teacher and all of that. That is wrong. That's a cardinal transgression of justice. You know, so impunity is the order of the day. I don't know what's happening there. But Bill Truery wants to run. I don't think he's qualified. And I don't think he has the public rectitude to stand for public office. But then this is Liberia, and people like us will let the people know that don't vote for this man. This man isn't qualified to run and seek public offices. He's a disgrace. He's a thief. You don't want your children to see thieves as what is happening now in power and in authority of our governance process.
Thank you. Mr. Kane, back to you. We can head to Liberia.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. First, I as a matter of fact, I'm going to have to ask Truth FM to give a little more time over our regular time today, because I really, really want to make sure that when people listen to every single bit of this information, because they are very, very important. Some people in Liberia, are spinning, especially from the CDC side of the things. They are spinning that there's okay, people are putting sanction on Liberia. In fact, making it to look like as people who are calling for sanction on corrupt officials are committing crimes. So I would like for you to talk about that after we heard and when we hear from people in Liberia. So, Mr. Johnson, go ahead. Mr. Cllr, go ahead and open the line in Liberia. Let's take some calls. What they think about what they have heard so far from Cllr Jerome Verdier.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Sekou and the team there and the counselor. Yeah. So we can place your call. I start calling the number. The number always start to ring. So you can call me on 0770-203125. Again, 0770-203125. Please 30 seconds or most of 1 minute.
30 seconds, not even 1 minute, just 30 seconds.
Yeah. 30 seconds, please, no time. Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. What's your name and where you joining from?
Yeah, this is Charles Cooper. I'm calling from Calfi Tuporo.
Okay, go ahead and talk to the counselor.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to Councillor Verdier for his stance against corruptions and corrupt government officials within our country. I think he's one of those persons who has stood tall over the time. He has been very consistent when it comes to the fight against corruption. And I think he's doing well, because corruption is the only thing that is keeping our country backward. So those who fight against corruption, we must kill them. And as for President, we are my brother. We are starting to fail from the very beginning of the administration.
All right, your 30 seconds elapsed, please. Yeah, hello?
Hello?
Yeah, how you doing? What's your name and where you joining us from? Please, just be brief, please.
Yeah, this is Bronson from Capital Bypass.
Okay.
I listen to Capital Radio. But I want to ask you this question. Why most of the opposition politicians or other human rights in any country, especially in Africa, that when the certain government, when they have a second term and they win, then they say that they cheat. But when the opposition wins then they say election is free and fair. Why?
Okay. Thank you so much to this caller. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, how you doing? Quickly, what's your name and where you joining us from? Okay, Jerry, go ahead.
Thank you to the councilor. I was just monitoring the FBC while the president said demonstrate that yes, corruption is a thing. But what we as Librarians fail to notice that those people are the people who come down with the corrupt money, then are the distributed others, then we fail for supporting them. And those things are not correct. We must stop corruption in this country at all times. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much to this call. Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, my brother, good evening. What's your name and where you joining us from?
My name is David Flomo and I'm calling from Ghana from Telecom.
Okay, David, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the show and say thank you to the counselor there. Actually, we need help. This country needs help. Because where we are going now is that we are going to sell this country. If we listen to Romans, especially on the country today, the ending, as the previous caller was saying, I just listen to things from ERBC. We are confused. We need help. Our people in the diaspora and other places, we need you people to come and help us so that we can see how best to hijack our country from those people. Because where we are now is not easy. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to this caller. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, how you doing? What's your name and where you joining us from?
I'm Lasanche Roland Trobe. I come from Pingsville.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'd like to take this time to thank Councillor Verdier for the good work all of them are doing in the diaspora. You see, Liberia is at a crossroad. And one point he just raised there is that people who are under sanctions should not take part in the elections because it's clear. We heard the ambassador clear. People who are under sanctions, nobody should deal with them. So if the election commission is doing business with Bill Twaway, it means they are eating him. Then of course the election commission herself should be sanctioned. So all those who are placed on a sanction should not be eligible to take part in our election.
All right.
I think that should be clear. That should be a caveat for us and the electorate. And we all should be also careful because they say the receiver is just as good as the roll. So if these people are stealing money from us and giving us crumbs and we accept it, then we are all guilty. So, Cllr Verdier, thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your participation. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, my brother, good evening. What's your name and where you joining from?
Yeah, I'm Alfonso calling you for Congress.
Okay, go ahead, Avanso.
Yeah, I want to congratulate the Cllr Verdier. But I want to ask you this question: is President Weah is also a thief? If yes, then he needs to be indicted. Thank you.
Okay, to this caller. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, how you doing? What's your
So
name? And
you
where you
will
coming
take
from?
2 more calls after that, so the customer can have a time to respond to it.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to ask the councilor something. Is there anywhere in the Constitution that citizens can take action on this guy that did? Like what he did to bring somebody else can find disability and he was denied.
Okay, I think you gotta read your constitution. So yeah, so Councilor, I think you just listen to Liberians back home.
Yes. I think our people. Yes, sir.
Respond to some of those things what you just heard and some of the questions.
Yeah, I will try. I thank our people for participating, and they asked very, very important questions. The last one was, can citizens take action? What kind of action citizens can take? And it is true. A government is instituted by the will of the people. That is, it's a contract between the government and the people of Liberia. It's like, put us in power and we'll do this for you. So if the people live up to their own side of the contract and put you in power, and you violate your own by not doing what you're supposed to do for the people, peace, security, job, education, health, all of those things, yes, the people can do something about it. And the very first chapter in the Constitution says it. The people have the right to move them. Move them by any means. The Constitution will say peaceful means, but peaceful protest in the street and say calm down is also peaceful. That's one means. Liberian people can get up and say, Mr. Weah, get away from that mansion. You can bring water truck or not, we're coming for you. If you don't get out of the mansion, we will not leave. If you don't dismiss these people, we will not leave the street. We'll shut down your government and we'll not pay taxes and all of those things. And another way is to vote the government out. People have just 1 year away now from elections. Don't vote for anything that resembles Weah. Don't vote for them. Try other people. They're not the only people. They were not born to be leaders of Liberia. They didn't go to school on Liberia and they said they were the best technicians to be leaders of Liberia. Try the other people. So yes, in fact, the greatest thing that can be done is with the people. That is why you see nobody is talking about going to do anything against them except waiting. And that's the catch. Election is so closely around. And what's happening is just like what happened in 1989 before the rebels came. People were saying, let's get rid of the government, let's go to war. And other people said, no, let's wait for the elections. But the main way is to achieve the elections. So why wait? For us, our next move is to campaign to make sure the elections are free and fair. Vote them out of office. Don't let them have any chance to come back in office. Is Weah corrupt? Somebody else, yes, Weah is corrupt. He's the biggest thief. And he doesn't care about the Liberian people. He doesn't care. All those people are operating under his power and authority. He can fire them like this. They work at his will and pleasure. Everything they do is according to his will and for his pleasure. So he knows he's the biggest thief. Okay, somebody would say, why America didn't include any sanction on this? That's an American decision. But in my wisdom, I think they don't want to influence the elections. Because I think if they sanction him, he will not step down. Liberian people do not have that will to bring him down forcefully. So since elections are coming, let's give them a chance to vote him out of office. And that's the chance that Liberian people have. Elections for sanctioned people, yes, that's true. They shouldn't be taking part in elections. But the Elections Commission is not progressive. They will tell you there's no law that stops them. So in other words, if you know the man is sanctioned, he's a criminal, an international criminal, don't vote for him. Don't get involved with him. You have the final decision. Don't vote for him at all. There's another question.
Okay, another question, because we have to leave the radio now in about, it is about time now, but just run through that last question quick.
Okay, yeah, you was talking about us in the diaspora who are helping. There are people in Liberia who are helping also. They provide information. Some people you see on the street, they're selling one T-shirt, or they're just selling Apple and all of that. Those are people too who collect information from what's happening. There are Liberians, there are human rights organizations who are there who collect. It's not just me and my group alone. People send information to, and the telephone numbers are around. Pretty soon as the full list come up, we establish a hotline. Anybody can call from any phone. You don't even have to tell us who you are. Just give us a clue on what you're talking about, and we will follow in our investigation. For example, Maggie said he doesn't have property in America. People have submitted evidence already of properties. Yes.
So he was lying.
You know, a big one. You now see a thief talk to. You know, and then the other question, why elections are rigged in Africa? Because people do not have integrity. That's why I say we want to raise the integrity so that whatever the results, if the Liberian people are the ones who decide, we don't want any doubt over it. We know the government is very, very popular. Nobody wants them. But you don't know what people do when they go in the voting room to vote. So that's why we want the process to be free, fair, and credible. So that when the results come up, all of us can accept it. You know, so basically, that means there's one other question I haven't touched. The money. Okay, yes. This one thing the government people do. They keep all of us poor. It's just like if you have your pig in a pig pen, you keep it hungry, then in the morning you just throw crumbs into it for them to eat. That's what they do. They make you poor and they want you to be dependent on them. All the money comes, they find a way to use it on themselves. Then we should go to their gates in the morning and ask them for money. Poor people who know themselves, who never beg, it hurts them that they have to go to these rogues, these thieves, whether in the legislature or in the executive, and beg them. That's what they do. They steal the money, bring it out to themselves because they want to look like God so we can worship them. Then they keep everybody down.
Thank you very, very much, Cllr Jerome Verdier. So those of you listening to us on the radio, we apologize that we're going to have to leave it there on the radio. But if you have some data to continue, join us on SKTV on Facebook. You will continue to follow the conversation because we still have about the Cllr, you know, is going to be, you know, yes. Because actually we were supposed to do this show on Thursday, but we wanted to make sure the Cllr is free and available to us to answer all of our questions. That's why we move it to Saturday on the weekend. So the Cllr is home and relaxed. So we got him for today.
Very relaxed.
So, Mr. John Simeon Bonkola, to you and the team, the entire management, want to say thank you very, very much. I want to apologize for going over our time, at least for 3 minutes now. I want to apologize for that, but I want to say big thank you for being patient with us and for the Liberian people, because you know what? The partnership with Truth FM means a lot to us, and it means a lot to the Liberian people. I want to say thank you, and then you can take it from there.
All right, Sekou, and to the Cllr, I want to say good night from our end, and want to say happy weekend from our end. And Sekou, on tomorrow, we're going to be back together. So I want to say thanks for the hard work. Thank you so much. So for there you have it. For those of you that just joining this broadcast. Yes,
and please tell your people that Yeke Kolba, the representative, will be on tomorrow for the continuation of the discussion on the opposition protection brigade. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to be very heated, and we will continue the contribution from the people who are contributing. The last time we made about $275 on Cash App for them, and then $70 on Zelle. We have that money available, but we want to make sure we conclude the entire process. Then we will submit the money to them. But we'll keep you updated every single penny that will come in on their behalf. But thank you very much, Liberia. Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson, and the entire crew, and to the Liberian people listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, so for there you have it. I want to say thanks to the entire team there from the US of A. Yes, SKTV. So if you're out there, don't do that, touch your dial, don't get it set. The Truth FM 96.1, the heart and soul of Liberia.
All right, so we have our people there now. So Cllr Verdier, we still have about over 1,000 people watching on the internet, or talking about on Facebook. And on YouTube as well. So first, if you're just joining us on our original SKTV platform, we have everybody here, but we want you to gradually transition. We have a new Facebook also called SKTV Live. It means that we are not leaving SKTV, but we are transitioning. We want you to click, like, and follow that one as well. I'm going to post the link here. You click and like it. We're not going to leave SKTV right now, no. But we want to make sure that everybody be able to be a part of the conversation. So in the end, when we eventually have everybody on there, we will try to continue going broadcasting simultaneously on both accounts until we can get everybody moved to the other account. But I want to say thank you very, very much to all of you. So Cllr Verdier, one of the questions that I ask you, I want to reiterate that question and expand on it. Citizens and CDC supporters, or the pundits from the CDC, they are saying the work of this sanction, it was done from people. I'm hearing myself. I don't know if somebody I have something on speaker, but whatever that is, I hope I'm yeah. So they're saying that the sanction is not only for America, but they have opposition politicians paying money to lobbyists, paying money to other American government officials to put sanction on Liberia, as opposed to putting sanction on corrupt officials. Liberians that are listening today, what can you tell them about this sanction? Who is this sanction going for in particular? Is that for Liberia, for Liberian government as a whole, or for individuals within the government who are corrupt?
Well, it would be good that people who talk like that so recklessly provide the evidence for what they say. If opposition are campaigning for sanctions against corrupt people, that's a good thing. Okay, and I'm not close to any political party to know what is happening, so I wouldn't speak for them. But what I can confidently say is that the sanctions, excuse me, are not against the people of Liberia. The international community loves Liberia, and they are sorry for Liberia because Liberia is a very rich country, but it's very poor because of corruption and bad governance. The school attendance rate in Liberia has dropped by 50%. And you know why that is? Because people cannot afford to keep their children in school. Children in school are failing and they get discouraged, so they drop from school. You know why? Because there's no
Can you
food.
put the phone up a little bit? You will not fit in your face. Just, yeah. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very
So
much.
children drop out of school because They are hungry. They cannot get the meal from home before going to school, and there's no school feeding program available. When we were coming up in school from primary stage, they used to feed us. We go to school, we get food. Good food too. You know? And those are things that government could fall back on, but it's not happening. So, and it's all because of corruption. That is why the campaign is on. You know, to tell people it is wrong. It is not good for you to take government money to be your money. You know, and it's happening because people are self-read. They don't know that. They have no training, they have no discipline. So you are a gangster, and you believe that the money that comes to government is your private money. So because of that, you don't respect anybody. You feel the whole country is working for you. The whole country is under you. You can do anything you want to do. And that is completely wrong. And at the beginning, I said it. If the sanction was on Liberia, Kusama rice will not come to Liberia. Gasoline will not come to Liberia. The prices of those essential things will be very, very expensive. Liberia is not a manufacturing country. Rather, we buy everything we need from abroad. Why does it take America to say, okay, we'll do a shipping embargo on Liberia? For even 6 months, people will suffer. That's what they call sanctions on the country. The ordinary people suffer. But sanction on individuals is the individuals who are corrupt suffer. Somebody mentioned it in one of their questions. You know, they come and give us the crumbs. Yeah, they steal everything, and they come and flash you with $2,000, and you think that they are nice, they're doing you a favor. He steals $2 million, and then he spends $200,000 around, wasting it on people. That's not being good.
Councilor Verdier, let me ask you this, then I'll go to Steve. We spoke about the scenario with President Taylor, former President Taylor, when he was president, and you said something about the special court, that you were also one of the lawyers for the special court, United Nations back special court that prosecuted President Taylor. Hypothetically, if the president failed to listen to this sanction or act on this sanction, could he risk the possibility of what happened to Taylor being sanctioned himself and family and their acquaintances, everybody else?
Yeah, he risks being sanctioned himself, especially if he proves to be an incorrigible person, meaning he doesn't take correction, he doesn't want to change, and he is still violating the sanctions by working and cooperating with the people who are being sanctioned. It's possible he will be sanctioned. But one thing that I'm sure of is that all these people in government, all of them who are stealing, who are committing economic crimes, they will spend time in jail. They will be prosecuted.
So for in the case of President Weah, could that possibly go beyond presidency?
Of course. When the law grabs you, the law grabs you even while you are president. You know, there's a process to take a current president or a sitting president to criminal prosecution. But when you are out, the process is less rigid. That's why, like I said from the beginning, the evidence is being collected, and the pronouncement of sanction is noticed to you.
All right.
That the record is being established, and the record is going to be laying down there waiting for the right time. And I can see all of our big guys and everybody in government who are stealing government money, and they think that because it didn't happen in the past, it will not happen tomorrow. They are wrong. We are in a different dispensation. They will all spend good time in jail. I can assure you of that.
Steve, back to you.
Thank you. Well, Councillor Verdier, as we are winding down the conversation here, and we definitely know for sure very soon we'll have you back here to talk other national issues. I'd like to pivot back to the sanction because I'm looking at the sanction here. I'm reading about how these guys, everything talks about financial benefits, the money, how they did it. But something triggered in my head that the Magnitsky Act was actually based on human rights violation. Not to say that stealing money from the people is not violating human rights, but most recently we've seen human right atrocity and violation in a country. Now, as a lawyer, why do you think the American did not pursue actors that have facilitated such moves, such as maybe the police director Patrick Sulu, or maybe other people that their names have been mentioned over since this government took over, such as Jefferson Koji? Everywhere they talk about violence, his name is attached to it some way, somehow. Why did they pivot to go to the money side first as opposed to the actual human violators or violation side? What would you say? You're muted.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I will start by telling you between Weir, Magee, and Samuel Twer, who you think is the most powerful person there?
Magee.
That's what all of us say. Samuel Twer is the most powerful person.
Because Samuel Twer is the one with the money.
And
Thank you.
Answer that.
Samuel Twer is the one with the money, so he's the most powerful person.
Exactly. He controls the bear. He finances and everything, and he sees himself as an intellectual, the ideologue.
Yes.
You know, so he thinks he's smart. He thinks he's cunning, and he can, you know, use all of them. But he is the man. He's the most dangerous. Most of the killings are sanctioned by him, not just Magee alone. Most of the time, Magee goes to him. And the killing of the auditors, Samuel Twer directly sanctioned them, and he was involved. He identified who to be killed. He called people and said, we'll have meeting at so and so time. Tell people there will be a meeting on so and so time, the issues they had. And then those people became vulnerable, and he set a trap for them and killed them. So the money establishes a trail to the criminals.
Hold on a minute, Councillor Verdier. This is scary. I'm not cutting you off. I'm sorry. Steve will continue with the questioning, but this is big. The information that you are just providing, is the American aware, or do they have any information on what you just said about Samuel Twer?
Well, when you say the Americans, I don't know who you're talking about.
I'm talking about
people I work with have that information.
Huh?
People I work with have that information. They even know more than I know.
Okay. You may continue. I'm sorry. You may continue.
Samuel Twer is the most powerful of the triumvirate. And Steve knows what I mean by triumvirate. The three. Dangerous. Magee, yes. He the one who got the ex-combatants to come and activated them. But who provided the money for him to buy a car for them? Who paid for their offices? You think it came out of Magee's pocket? Samuel Twer signed onto it. He agreed. Look at the budget. With all the manipulation going on in the budget, I have not even commented about the budget or anything with it, because it is not a budget for a country. It's just a way to spend the money. And when you look in it, you see all the hidden funds there that's going directly right back to them. Who created that? Samuel Twer. You know, Then they say they got budget, they got surplus. One minute you announce surplus, the next minute you have deficit. You cannot pay for this money you are crediting. Where is our debt portfolio? It has risen back to what it was when Ellen says she was begging people to reduce it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of this year, it will surpass that amount. It's now in billions. You're crediting billions. Where's the money going? So that's the situation we have. Criminals have hijacked the entire governance process, and they are in control.
Let me ask you this question: since some things have not, what we can say, you save the best for the last. Let me ask you this question in terms of the family members, the relationships, because people are still joking about or with these sanctions.
Mm-hmm.
How would this impact? Maybe let's say they mean this towards generation, her children, and so forth. How can this impact McGill's children, his wives, his relatives, his family members, his close associates? How does that work? What would you say?
Well, like I said, the TRC sanctions and the TRC era are different from now.
Right.
So I don't know whether these sanctions will extend to those people, but to the extent that they are colluding with these people to hide and shield their access and wealth, they will be involved. Okay, I heard that Maggie's wife green card was withdrawn. Somebody said it to me, and a second person called me, but I haven't investigated on my own. I don't know. Okay, and if that is part of the sanctions regime, I don't know. But if it is evidence that she's somebody who takes money out of Liberia and carries it to America on his behalf, or she's managing an account there on his behalf, it's related to financial matters, she could be sanctioned. But I don't know, and I don't know if the sanctions regime has extended that far to family members and all. But anybody who is in violation by working with these people, the sanctions will extend to you.
Here's
so
my
it's
last
possible.
Here's my last question to you for the day. We've spoken about government officials. We've spoken about what are senior, junior government officials and other branches of government that are actively working now. How would this connect? How would this connect to members of the opposition who might be receiving bribes, taking monies, or being connected or associated with these guys, whether that's through laundering of monies or companies doing business with them and so forth? How does that impact them?
It is called collusion. You are working with the criminal or the perpetrator, and you are not known, or you're doing it secretly. But the objective is to evade the law, is to evade sanctions. So if opposition members, whoever they are caught in that process, they will be liable. They become suspects, and it's possible that they could be sanctioned also. And trust me, my brother, the Americans have information. They've been collecting it. I was telling you about the example with Charles Tito. I saw the trail of Charles Tito's money. Over 30 persons who were connected with Charles Tito's money. And everywhere they were hiding them and all of that. And how they were doing it and all those kind of things. They have experts.
I know you've not denied SKTV requests so far, even when we asked you to come on the show. Do you mind sharing those documentations with us?
No, ask the special code. Ask the special code. They have it. But Chancellor is in jail now, so we'll just put his thing aside. But all these people and everything they're trying to have, who doesn't know? Money has trails, and people in Liberia talk. Especially the ordinary people. And like I said, when the full list comes up, we'll open a hotline that people can call in, and you will see the information we get. Already, we haven't started, but we have information on market property in America.
Councillor Verdier, you just talk about it. This is your second time talking about when the whole list comes out. What do you mean by the whole list?
I don't believe 5 persons are the only corrupt people in government or the only human rights violators. The whole list should include other people, other perpetrators, and there are more sanctions to come, but that's a decision of the American government. When we were doing our part, we submitted a good number, and this is just a tip, just a single tip of the iceberg. So I know there will be more to come, and I think the ambassador implies something like that, that if people do not change their ways, and they are being monitored, the government itself is being monitored. The president is...
Exactly. So that brought me back to my earlier question. So that means, should they change their way? Just the little names are being put out there. If the rest of the people change their way and do things differently, could that somehow help reduce the list, or perhaps stop the next list from coming out?
Well, I will tell you, these decisions have been made already. They went through Congress, they went to State Department, they went to the president, then it came to Treasury. So that's the process of getting people listed.
So the president can approve before you even get to the Treasury. So the Treasury is the last people?
The Treasury is the last.
Department?
The Treasury is the last. Treasury has to make sure everybody has signed on to it before they take the final decision. But they are part of the process of making a decision. Treasury also helps with information. They contribute, but they are the last. And I can tell you the sanctions were ready more than a year ago, and they were waiting for Treasury to sign on to it.
And when you say the sanction, it means not just the 3 people, but everybody else that are involved or that are included on the list.
Oh yeah, it's a process. It has been approved, all of them. So nothing you do now will make the difference. And if you want to be delisted, they have a procedure you can follow. And I believe they will even designate somebody at the U.S. Embassy who can sit with you and hear you arguing against what they have if you want to challenge it. Somebody will be designated, or somebody will come from DC to Liberia just for that. So if you are prepared, you are strong enough, and you want to challenge it, it's open to you. Yeah, it's not going to court. It's just the U.S. government action. And they are telling you the opportunity to challenge what we have done is there. And if you want it to be public, they will also make it public. So you are free. And all of them are aware. The sanction document also has a procedure. So instead of going around and pretending to be popular, everywhere you go, you put your troops in your trucks or in the buses and you send them ahead to go and energize the community before you step there. And then you're making all kinds of statements. That's fine. Today, they're asking you to change your ways. Tomorrow, you'll be in jail. You'll be prosecuted tomorrow. Because a lot of money these guys have stolen from Liberia. A lot.
Well, also, we're going to open the line here in the diaspora. We're not going to be for too long because we have kept the counselor here now for over 2 hours. So we're just going to open the line not to do injustice to you, because you say, oh, you just opened the line in Liberia, you did not open the line for us. So the lines are open. Call in and let us know what you think. And if you have a question for the counselor, ask the question. But just please be brief. 30 seconds, maximum 1 minute. The reason why we can extend yours up to 1 minute, because it's different with Liberia. People over there, they talk about data, they talk about, they kind of like, they take their time, even to kind of listen to us for minutes. It burns, a lot of minutes from them. But at least you have a little different opportunity here. So you can call in at least maximum 1 minute, but we'll always stick to 30 seconds. Let's get the first caller here. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from? Caller, you need to tune down the monitor and listen to your phone only.
Okay.
What is your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from North
North Carolina. What is your name?
Garwin.
All right, go ahead. What is your question for the counselor?
Councilor Verdier, I really admire your work. Thank you for everything you have done to bring stability and rule of law to Liberia. I really admire you and Councilor Gwangwa. My question is simple. Somebody asked earlier from Liberia about what can the citizens of Liberia do. I'm not familiar with, I came to the state very young, but I try to keep myself abreast with Liberia politics. But does the Liberia Constitution have provision in it that you can recall lawmakers when they are not performing like it was done with Governor Newsom in California and Scott Walker in Wisconsin? Does the Liberia Constitution have that provision?
Thank you very much. Let's go to the callers here. First caller, let me see. First caller on the other line is 612 number, last 4 digit 9634. What is your name and where you calling from? So if I answer your call, just listen. It means that you are in the queue. So caller, what is your name and where you calling from?
Hey, this is the undercover police and calling from Minnesota. How are you?
Ben, how you doing, my friend? What is your question for Councilor Verdier?
So my question to the counselor is that we first of all, let me lay a premise. We all know that the city government is a very bad government. However, there are due process for even the criminals themselves has due process. Bernie Sanders, when he was convicted, had to appeal to the court, and the court allowed him to run in the local election. So how would the counselor then say that the guy, Petition, should not run? Would that not be two legal systems for two different set of criminals?
Thank you.
That's my question. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let's take another caller here. Caller last. When I take your call, please stick to the line. It means that you are in the queue. But when I call your last 4 digit, then you can speak. Last 4 digit is 5421 319 number. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Thank you. This is Alfred Punowa, and I joined the competition from Waterloo, Iowa.
Go ahead, Alfred.
Yeah, let me say good afternoon to our learned counselor in studio. I want to also say good afternoon to my brother Steve from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been looking at the sanction from the perspective of the legislature. National Day has been sanctioned on the charges of organizing warlords, and looking at it from the viewpoint of the legislature, I have a question for the counselor. What is his take on looking at the legislature in terms of oversight and lawmaking, and what is the implication for this sanction regarding the legislature? Do they have any role to play? Because the sanction come as a way that the Houses Committee on Security and the Houses Committee on Ways, Means and Finance, they have not done anything enough in terms of bringing these guys to vote, in terms of investigation, in terms of setting up a committee to investigate this particular matter.
Thank you.
So what your take, Councilor, in terms of the implication from the message of the legislature?
Thank you very much. Caller 510 number, last 4 DJ 9406.
Yes. Good afternoon, Sekou, and good afternoon, Mr. Verdier. Thank you for coming on and explaining to the Liberian people, and also I want to thank you for the hard work that you continue to do, and thank you, gentlemen. So I have 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
My first question has to do with, you think there is anything in the law, or we should propose a law that people of such, any point that is found to be sanctioned by the U.S. government or anything of such, and do you think there should be some sort of law that should bar them from running in elections in Liberia? Because sometimes it becomes a way to hire, like, for example, the poll director is trying to run for Senate in Rivers, and possibly Michael in Bomi. And so, do you think there should be some sort of law that should ban those people? Secondly, my last question has to do with the sanction. Does it specifically talk about it just
block their access, and has to do with some of the local banks in Liberia freezing the account and other banks. Is it something that they freeze all their accounts and there will be no, other form of a transaction that will be ongoing in the background or something as such? Those are my questions.
Thank you very much. Like take the next caller here. Caller 710 number. Your last 4 DJ is 4658. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah. Thank you for taking my call. Are you getting me?
Yes,
yeah?
You're live. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Oh yeah. My name is Teddy Tail Lion Yanko. I'm calling from Fargo, North Dakota.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. I have a question for the counselor in the studio.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to know, why said the counselor never mustered the courage during past administration where a lot of people who took money in America around the place in Mary Megan, America never mustered the courage to do that, to bring them to book. But why they are being selected of this regime, of George Weah's regime. So based on that, I believe that people like Magay and tourists, those people that work in Weah's government, they are the government officials that ever even try to carry on some development in the country. So based on that, the Liberian people, the majority will not buy into this. This is political motivated. At this crucial time close to election, the councilor, they are this such an advocacy is not in favor of the country, but to create confusion. And the Liberian people will not buy into this. And the last question is why the councilor took any Justice Selini out of the TRC list and took bribery, and now do you think he has the moral grounds to embark on this on this journey?
Thank you. Well, that was a long and loaded question. Let's take the next caller here. Caller, what is your name? Where you calling from? It looks like this is Cllr Jerome from Arizona.
Thank you very much. This is Augustine.
Augustine P. Flomo, just please hold the line. I'm talking about the other line here. Cllr Jerome, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Councilor, thank you very much. You gave a lot of information to Liberian people, to the world. At least Liberian people must know their right. Because most of the things that are happening in Liberia, most of the people not even know of some things, they not even know their own right. As you are saying, the House can impeach the president, all these things. The people have the power, but they don't know how to use their own right to make it right for themselves, for the betterment of Liberia. But I want to ask you, Councilor, on the Walker code issue, because I know most of the problem in Liberia is corruption. That's the main thing. Government come with their too much talk and they don't do the work of the people and they corrupt and people cannot get at least to minimize it. Madam Annie Johnson says corruption is going to be number one enemy to her, but she didn't fight it to the end. She went and she became
I want you to go to your question directly, please. We don't have time. Please.
Okay.
I know you want to lay premise. Just go to your question.
Okay. What I want to say here is how can we minimize corruption in our country, because it's the main problem of Liberia?
Very good question. Thank you very much, Mr. Dukley. So, folks, when you call, please go to your question directly. I know people want to lay premise, but we do not have enough time. 978 number, last 4 DJ 2338. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Augustus P. Flum, and I have 2 short questions for.
Go ahead, Augustus, quickly.
My first question is, Councilor Jerome Verdier always say he's fighting for the Liberian people and all these things used for Liberian people. But sometimes when he criticizes the president, he makes it very personal, and sometimes he uses colorful languages that I cannot use on your show. And even on Spoon Talk, I think a week or 2 ago, he said, "Don't you think I also want to go back home?" As if the Georgia government is preventing from going home. So my question is, why do you personalize this thing so much when you say you're working for the Liberian people? And my second question is, all the evidence not evidence, but with this sanction, all the lines against, especially Bill Trotter, were things that you, Jerome Verdier, have said on Spoon TV, on Sekou Show, and even in the meeting you have with Alan White, with Yesenia Martin, most of the allegations that you lay out are the very same thing in the sanction note. So how can we say that the sanction is something that the American government did on your own, and it's through their intelligence. If it didn't come from you, meanwhile, what we've been hearing from you and Yesenia and the rest are all that are in the sanctions.
Thank you. So we're gonna take only 2 more calls. I have those are the people that I have on hold. So we will not take any more calls beside those 2. The first one right now is the last end is 5103. What is your name and where you calling from? And then from there we'll take the last call from the other line. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, what is your name and where you calling from? Quickly.
My name is John Darker. I'm calling from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Go ahead quickly.
Okay, one good thing that I want to re-emphasize, Jerome already mentioned, it has to do with the trail of money.
Mm-hmm.
People who do public corruption, they don't know that money travel with its trail. Then you take money from, you can even take it to 5 different banks. It travels with a trail, and it can be traced to whichever bank you took it from. But it's just ignorant that people will be taking money from here, putting it so either you put it in somebody means the trail, the root will be there. So I just want to agree with him. The next issue had to do with people who say, why you didn't talk about this when this one happened in previous government? Do they want this to continue on any? One government moves from there, the other government can steal, and you talk about it and say, well, the other people did it. There must be an end to this public stealing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the last caller here. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from? The last 4 digit is 9434.
Hey, hello there. My name is Moses Colley. I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Moses Colley from Charlotte, North Carolina. Quickly, you are the last caller of the day.
Yes. It goes to the people that are elected as representatives and senators.
Mm-hmm.
When these people are sanctioned, and according to the rule of the sanction, nobody should do business with these people.
Mm-hmm.
If the government continue to pay the people's salary, the president, George Weah, continue to pay the people's salary and give them money, it's a same violation of what the sanction is all about. And why should these people continue to be going around? They are already being sanctioned, although they were not hired by the government, they were elected by the people, representatives and senators. These people. So who will apply the sanction by not working with them?
Thank you. Well, I said that was the last call, but I don't know, mistakenly answer this call here. I can't just hang out on the person. I'm sorry. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Chris, and I'm calling from the Pelican State.
From the Pelican State. That's Louisiana, correct?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
I want to thank Cllr Verdier for his advocacy. I have a question for him.
Go ahead, quickly.
If somebody was sanctioned in Taylor's government and they continue to be a problem in this government by obstructing justice, can they be sanctioned with this group?
Thank you. Councilor Verdier, back to you. I know you you have a lot of questions now. We are sorry. We apologize for putting you through all these questions because I know you stay longer than expected. We apologize, but maybe you know how much we appreciate your being here, and Liberian people really appreciate you, and we appreciate your knowledge and information that you provide. We really, really appreciate it. Please, take your time. We're not rushing, but I know you got to go. But take your time to respond to the many questions as possible. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I think you're muted. 1 second. Yeah, I think you're good now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I was trying to say that I'm glad that our people chose.
I want to put the phone up a little bit so you can sit up a little. Yes, so people can see you.
I'm sitting up.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm saying I'm glad our people participated and made their contribution.
Yeah.
And the questions are so interesting that I wrote them down so that I don't forget one. So it means that our people are listening. And this is the advantage of the diaspora. When you leave Liberia and come to the diaspora, there's some transformation that take place, you know, and because of that, the people back home don't appreciate the diaspora, and they don't want the diaspora participating heavily in government or public service, you know, and that's why we think the so-called law that they passed has a lot of problems. And from just reviewing it, it is a good example of how not to make a law, but that's something for another time. Our only sister asks about sanctions of the past. Okay, those sanctions were for a particular time, and they were targeted to keep Liberia stable and advance and protect the security of the state and the people, and international security as well. I'm convinced that they had a time limit for them that they will expire. If anybody is still unsanctioned, it means that that person continues to be a threat, and they are in continued association with Mr. Cllr. I have not reviewed that sanction regime for a long time, but I think the committee was dissolved and all of that when Mr. Cllr was put to jail. It is difficult for Mr. Cllr to harm Liberia's security interests or West Africa or internationally from where he is. He has been isolated. He has been cut off to a major extent. So most of his people, including those who have his money, have made up their minds to go on their own, to forget about him. So the potential for his threat is not very, very major. So I don't know what is the status of it, but I think it's something in the past. But if they are still sanctioned, it has nothing to do with the current sanction, and they will remain sanctioned. The current sanction is about corruption in Liberia. That is undermining democracy. That is undermining peace. That is undermining the viability of the Liberian state and the welfare of its people. Corruption is like you have a family and you are the head. You use the family money to get drunk. You use the family money to support your girlfriends. You use the family money to support your habits. Eventually, there will not be enough money for food in the house. There will not be enough money to take the children to the hospital. There will not be enough money to educate the children. And that's the same thing with the situation for Liberia when government officials, President Weah and his people, choose to package the public resources as if it is their personal property. That's it for that question. Somebody asks, who will enforce the sanction against the government? If the government is incorrigible, if the government continues, it means that sanction will come to Liberia itself. If the government doesn't change its ways, if Mr. Weah decides not to break with these sanctioned individuals, sanction will come to him. And if Mr. Weah continues in his persistence, and to the extent that sanction will have to be enforced against him, even though that is not the intention, but eventually it will come to that. If everybody in his government is being sanctioned, eventually the government will be a government of bad people that nobody should do business with them. I know there was a time I tried to transfer money to Liberia to my account at EcoBank, and it was not possible because the international community was not dealing with Liberia. They didn't trust transactions from Liberia. You know, so if it gets to that point, it would be very, very unfortunate. But for now, it is on these sets of individuals. And if the president doesn't break away, he continues to deal with them as the sanction says nobody should deal with them, then it means that he's breaking sanction on himself and he's breaking sanction on the country. We hope that in this time he'll be a wise man, doesn't let us go to that point. The brother who spoke about the money trail was very, very correct. There is a money trail. The money has serial numbers. When you move from one bank to another, it is accounted for. When you transfer it to America, there is trail. And what the criminals do not know, in criminal investigation, when we go to do investigation, we say the criminal always leaves something behind. He always leaves his footprints or his handprints or his nose prints or his ear prints or his mouth prints. He leaves something behind. So you always have to look for it. How do you think I came up with the conclusion that the National Security Agency is a major hub for money laundering in Liberia? A major hub. And everybody in the international community knows it. You know, they think they are operating in isolation. No. But we have a global society, a one world, and people are monitoring, people are watching. So there's nothing they can do that will hide so much. Yes, you may hide for a while, but it will only be for a while. And like I said on the last talk I was on, you can fool the people some of the times, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. How do we minimize corruption in Liberia? We should do with the issue of impunity. In advocacy, we have something we call naming and shaming. We are just advocates, we don't have power, we don't have authority. So the best thing we do is to look for the information and get it any way we can and expose it. So we name you and we shame you in the eyes of the public so that everybody can know you and know that you are a thief, you are a perpetrator. So in handling or dealing with corruption in Liberia is to expose corruption. And the next step is for government to be serious about prosecutions for corruption. And the international community has been on the government back. Everybody has been talking about corruption. That's to tell you the magnitude of the situation and how serious it is. You know, corruption, corruption, corruption. So Weah came to office. He put his hands in a cookie jar, Samuel Tuer, to the international community. All our partners had to come together and they had a meeting and said, put the money back. And he had a name for it. Something like Borrowing Initiative. That's when the eyes of everybody open and say, oh, we have to watch these guys. From Borrowing Initiative, when President Serif left, she left 150 million in Liberia Foreign Reserve. By June 2018, the account was empty. Where did it go? Did anybody, are people asking questions how we have managed to build all those things? And where the money came from, in addition to the stolen money, that the billions that got missing. His share. You remember they were converting the money to US dollars. That was when he was building his property. He needed US dollars to bring in materials from abroad. And that's when the rate went so high. He was converting his share of the billions to US dollars. Okay, so that's what we can do to remove corruption from our system. Expose them, prosecute them, and make sure that the rule of law prevails and impunity is no longer a cultural phenomenon in Liberia. Why not past administration? Advocates have been there during past administration. Myself was there. But you know, the law is progressive. As society goes up, as society advances, there are new laws. During past administration, there was nothing like Malik's human rights and corruption sanctions. And besides that, there was no human rights committee that we knew at the US Congress. Now the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission is there to receive all human rights reports. But I was there, we did the same thing. But the people realized that we need help. It should go beyond just advocating. They should come in to help these societies. And when they saw what happened in Russia, they incorporated it into the American body of laws. And then they realized, but the same thing is going on in Liberia and other countries. So they say, okay, we expand it to the Global Magnitsky Act. so that it can incorporate Liberia and other countries that are doing the same thing. I was there the whole time. We advocated, we did our best. I was there Taylor time. We advocated, we did our best. I was there throughout the interim government and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf time. It was because of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and what I was doing that I'm out of the country today. She was just tired with that nonsense. This guy, we have to get rid of him. She tried, she sent bribes, I refused it. She used other means, I refused it. So she said, okay. The only thing that will make him quiet down is to send the armed robbers after him. And armed robbers don't go to people's office in the day when they are there. So those are executioners that came to my office. That's how I left. Okay, but the law is progressive. And somebody just said something. Because nothing was done in the past administration, so it should continue. You cannot justify one wrong by another wrong or by a prior wrong. No, there's no justification. So nobody should say because it didn't happen during Ellen Johnson Sirleaf time, so it will not happen. That's the mentality they have. But then the onus was on them. If they wanted Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and her people prosecuted, what did they do? We told them do audit. Did they do audit? No. Prosecute, bring them to book. The bad people from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf time, did they do it? No. And we were there, we advocated. And another thing people are missing, during the entirety of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, I was doing the TRC for 5 years. So he was there for the first, she was there for the first year, and right after I went into TRC. So after the 5 years, when TRC was over, she got re-elected. I had to leave the country because I was threatened. Okay, so one wrong cannot justify another one. Somebody asked whether there was.
Are we done with the question? Should take us some more?
Yeah, just a few more.
Okay.
Somebody asked whether there was a law to bar corrupt officials, from taking part in politics. And the other one, the second question to that was corruption and human rights, sanction, frozen assets, and where and everywhere. That's the nature of the sanctions. Wherever your assets are, they will be frozen. Once you are named, not only in Liberia, even in Guinea, in America or anywhere, in any bank, anywhere, they give the instructions to these banks that we Americans have found these people to be sending money all around illegally. And you know what gives America the authority to do that? America prints its own money, and they have rules on how you can use their money. So when you violate the rules governing the use of the American note, and the way you acquire it and the way you use it, or distribute it around the world, America, under the laws of America, has the right to step in and regulate the proper use of its money for society good and not for individual corrupt practices. So yes, anywhere you send the money, America has the right to control it and to sanction it. The legislature, insofar as the legislature is colluding with corrupt people in government, they are liable for sanctions. Because it is corruption when you are supposed to do one thing, you are being paid to do it, and you don't do it. And let alone you are allowing corrupt people from the executive to bribe you. And on the other hand, you also pass a budget and you tell them, I'll put 5 million there. When the budget passes, you're going to bring under 250,000. That's what they do in the legislature. They don't perform their functions. And more than that, they've been receiving that 30,000 and they put it in the budget and they think that because you put it in budget and so it's justified. No, it's not justified. It is not justified. That's corruption. So if they are found to be corrupt, yes. Somebody spoke about due process. We're coming to the end. Somebody spoke about due process as it was in the case of Samukai. He says Samukai was found guilty, but he was allowed to take part in elections. That's not a correct statement of the facts. Okay, and The sanction is giving them due process. That's why I say it's not an appeal, it's a challenge. You have the opportunity. Go to the American embassy, say, hey, nonsense you did, I give him by putting my name down, I challenge it. Okay, I have my evidence here. I want to speak to the sanctions committee. The person may either come from Washington to Monrovia, or if you are very, very serious, that person will come, or they will designate somebody in the U.S. embassy to engage you, to see how you can be delisted. Is there a law on recall? Yes, the Constitution provides for recall. But when I mention we need a recall law, I mean a simple law. The Constitution makes it a little bit more difficult. Okay, the process in the Constitution is not explicit, and it is just in the Constitution. You cannot enforce the Constitution without an enabling legislation. So we need a law that facilitates the constitutional provision and makes it easy to recall those people. So for now, nobody wastes their time to use the constitutional thing. For somebody emphasize it that we need to do more education. Yes, our people needs to be educated. And that's why we appear on these shows and all of that to do education. Part of the reason why we advocate is to educate the people and to provide policy options and awareness for the government itself. And two, to serve the public interest. But unfortunately, the government doesn't listen. I told you, before we decided to engage government.
Now, can we finish the rest within the next 3 or 4 minutes?
No, I'm finished. It was the first question, so it's the last.
Okay, that's
okay.
good.
Yeah, so the recall law is very, very necessary. It's in the Constitution, but it's not enforceable because it has not been reduced into a document. We need a law. Thank you very much. And I want to thank our people for asking the question.
So I just want you to use that time now to have a closing comment. And then we'll just and go. Please.
Thank you very much.
Come back again. We don't even see you because we need you. LeBron need you, honestly.
Yes, I agree. And I'm glad you know now that Saturday, the weekends.
Yeah, on the weekend. We'll be
at my best time. I'm happy. And the sanctions are on individuals, criminals in government. As you know, we term the government as a gangster paradise. And they didn't take you from it. Gangsters were having their way in government, and it was wrong. And we thank God that the American government have listened and they understand that it is true. So the sanctions are not against Liberia. I can tell the Liberian people, if the sanction was against Liberia, the suffering would be more. But we have to make sure the sanction doesn't come against us by pressuring the Mr. President to do the things that he's supposed to do. He should do the things that he's supposed to do. Otherwise, sanction will come on Liberia as a whole. Because, like I said, Liberia is one of the smallest economies in the world, and Liberia is one of the 10 poorest countries in the world. It doesn't take anything to squeeze Liberia. But our criminals are very, very rich. Some people have 4 million, 10 million in their accounts. Some people can buy $300,000 building cash in America. And they are in a poor government. That's the first thing. The second thing is, my people, and with the diaspora people, you're not voting for. You tell your people back home not to vote for Weah and his team. People in the diaspora told me, say, it is time to sanction their own people back home. Who anything the government say they cheer and they will attempt to vote for the government back in office. People in diaspora say, okay, I will say we instill our own sanctions against our people. That means they will not be sending money back home. We have to avoid that so that there can be a free flow because the economy is being supported by the diaspora. But yet they don't want the diaspora involved in the governance process. So thank you very much. That's the message I will leave with. Don't vote for Weah and his people. Anybody connected with corruption, anybody connected with human rights violations, anybody connected with Mr. Weah, don't vote for him. He tried for 5 years. We have seen his performance.
Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much, Cllr Jerome Verdier. Steve, we got to go now. So I know it has been 3 hours, correct? Exactly 3 hours now. And we don't normally do 3 hours. We do that once in a while, but not all the time. But the conversation today was very, 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 very interesting and intense, and we really, really enjoyed it. What say you before we go? I think we're going to have Yeke tomorrow, for sure, and Representative Yeke called back from district number 10, and for the continuation of the contribution to the Opposition Protection Brigade. So yes, besides that, there's nothing else. We got to go.
Well, I first of all want to say thanks to Cllr Verdier for being on here, for the time allocated to the Liberian people, for his voice. Yes, there are some things he did not want to go into details about, and we can totally understand from where he sits in, his role. There are some things he might not talk about. There are some things he might not elaborate on. There are some hints he might not even throw. He doesn't want to probably run ahead of himself or say certain things or hint some people on some things. That's totally understandable. But I like the fact that, he was clear, concise, precise, and factual about the issue as always.
And some of the questions you asked brought in a lot of breaking news. We elaborate on those things on another show.
Exactly. And so we learned some how many can pass around. All they want to do him, like he said, recruit people and carry people ahead of time, or pay people to come and say, oh, you do that, you not do that, we'll vote for you, and we'll stay in solidarity with that business. We don't care about that. But here's the issue. Yeke's coming on tomorrow. We'll continue the conversation. We know that this will roll into our conversation. I think there is hope. I really think there's hope, Mr. Kane. And I also like the fact that he was clear that this is not the end of it, in as much that he didn't want to go into details when you're pushing about the listing. This is not the end. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. There is some hope. Other people who think they're out of the woods, or they think that it's just for one person, well, we'll see what happens down the line. So this is very exciting. This is good news.
And then let me add, the mentioning of Samuel Toure, and Samuel Toure being the one even deciding who to be eliminated from the process. The big news. And that also clearly indicates that Samuel Toure is potentially on the list.
What?
Information. I'm just speculating.
What?
That's a possibility. There's also information.
What's interesting when he asked a rhetorical or hypothetical question about the three men and who's in charge.
Yeah.
And I picked Nathaniel McGill and he started laughing.
Yeah, but because my mind went on Samuel Toure, because the reason was because he's the money man. And money is the most powerful thing in the world. Yeah, Steve, we got to leave it there. Hopefully, Cllr Verdier will be willing to come up.
Yes, I think we should. I think we should invite him.
No, we'll reach out to him after the show, and not just on this one issue, but any legal matter in Liberia and issues of governance, bad governance, and stuff like that. We invite him to come and provide his knowledge.
Exactly, especially
to understand,
especially on the conversation of
in our country,
on the conversation of that dual citizenship and the newest bill that's that needs to be discussed in context so that the Liberian people can know what's going on. But Mr. Kane, thank you as always. I'll be calling you so we can talk. You already know what's up.
Yeah. Call me. We need to talk.
Yeah, we need to. It definitely.
All right. And then let me clarify something. Somebody say, "Oh, to my friend Steve there from Atlanta, Georgia." No, Steve is not from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
If you want to recruit a man to go to Atlanta, you let me know. But a man from right here in Phoenix.
No, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. If I'm moving to New Jersey,
you gotta move.
I lean into North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right, folks. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you,
the Honorable Representative.
Quick announcement. Next Saturday, I know we have Yeke today, tomorrow, but next Saturday we have Mandela Cooper. We do have Mandela Cooper as our guest, and we're working on another guest for Sunday. So we're trying to secure everything to let you know ahead of time. Those of you who have been reaching out to me for the mental health and wellness, our schedule has been a little crazy here and there, but definitely we'll update you by next week when we're resuming and the date. Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow.